to Nomad at Night, starring the one and only Nomad.
Yo, Super Nomaniacs, welcome to the show, and thank you for being here as everybody starts to trickle in. I see you. It's Crimson, you dig. First one in the joint tonight at the Super Nomaniac Lounge, man. Listen, welcome to the show. Once again, we're going to talk about Packer Week, and what's the 411, huh? And what's the 411? You got it going. Hey, we ain't got it going on right now, and we're going to need to play a certain kind of game to beat these dudes, man. And the conversation tonight is going to be wide ranging, but mainly focused on that, what we can do. Some of the changes that happened over the last 24 hours since we were on the show doing Nomad at Night. We got a signing that I really want to talk about because it's a signing off of a practice squad. It's a practice squad player, but the individual that we're signing, I have some real, let's just say, you guys are going to feel good when I get through describing this guy, because I remember him being coming out in the 2023 draft, and I believe I was still at the bar room, and I was working on that draft, and he was one of the centers. He was at the top of my list, but that's all I'm going to say for right now until we get into that subject. But yeah, one other thing that I wanted to say to you guys too, man, the website. So I've been doing what I can, doing due diligence to get it going, but it's a little bit of red tape when you're dealing with some of this kind of stuff, when you got to transfer things and stuff like that. I'm just jumping through a couple of hurdles, but I feel like sometime this week I'm gonna get over that, and I'm gonna really get started in earnest and put that website back up and get some of those designs out there to you guys, and find out some way or somehow to get you discounts better than I could when we were on Squarespace. So that was something I really wanted to offer, and we really wanted to offer to the Super Nomaniacs, or to just Nomaniacs period, were discounts, so that, you know, make it more pliable and more reasonable for somebody to get a membership, in which we really encourage you guys to do that. It's only $4.99 a month, but I promise you, we are going to find a way to get discounts to you guys, one way or the other. One thing I can tell you, kids, is that website that we're dealing with does have PayPal. So that's one little advantage that we'll have going on once we get it up. But it's coming. Just give me a minute. This is my first time, you know, my first rodeo with the building the website. But I promise you, we're gonna get it back up, and we're gonna get those designs going. and be honest with you guys, I don't know how much of an appetite it is for Bears fans to buy Bears merchandise. Here's the thing. We aren't the Chicago Bears franchise. We are the Nomad Network, and our designs, you can keep your fandom and not have to spend your money with the organization to buy things. I know people don't buy things directly from the organization or the website, but most people get their stuff in retail and all that kind of stuff. But I believe that you guys are going to like some of the stuff that we're going to put out. And so to keep your fandom up, man, please just think about giving us a look when we get that website up. And if you haven't become a member, man, we would really, really like your support right about now. We can use this. A lot of things that we need to be doing over here, and it all costs money. Nothing is free out here, hardly anything. But just wanted to say that first before there was this little house cleaning, excuse me, that we needed to do before we get this thing started. But without further ado, let me pass it on to the Canuck for some pleasantries before we get going.
Hey, that's me. What it do, y'all? Hopefully you had yourself a good 24 hours. Mine's been all right. Give a little bit of love to those who are out there and those who give us love. We'll start my guy Triple R, who's in the building with us. Always good to have Triple R. Shout out to you, Nomad, just for shouting out sake. Shout out to my guy, it's Crimson, you dig. He's in the chat, blowing it up. We'll definitely get into all that type of Bear stuff. Shout out to the Super Nomaniacs out there, Mo Fugra, The Nodge, Plankster, King Booker World. Let's just keep this thing moving, man. We got a whole lot to talk about here tonight, and a whole bunch more folks will filter in as we continue through. So, man, Triple R, what you got to say on this fine Wednesday?
Yes, beautiful day in the neighborhood, of course. What up to the dude, Nomad and Kedz, of course,
Shout
all
out
on
to
the
you.
gas. Make sure if you can give me a follow with social medias and the YouTube channel and the .com Sports Chicago Style.
Boom.
And by the way, Trips, just for the record,
What up?
it's all up to you. But once the website is up and we want to do some design work and we want to get some of your, just to get your stuff blasted out, I'm willing to do whatever I can do to help do that, man. So the website is wide ass open to you and your merch too. If you want to do some stuff, we can work together and make some shit happen for you. Of course, Kedz' stuff is going to be up there. His Superflex stuff, of course. But just letting you know, man, it's always there, man. It's going to be, it'll be wide open for all of us to get whatever we can get out of it. And we can work through any of the, non-negotiable shit that we can talk about privately. But just letting you know, man, out here, and I'll say it in front of the world, man, it's wide open to you too.
Right on. Appreciate it. Much appreciated.
But you know what? Let's how's everybody doing, man? What's been going on the last couple of days, kids, man? Before we get all the way into the bear stuff, man, how you been, man?
I don't really want to talk about me. I'm living. I'm surviving. Doing okay. Just been one of them weeks. You know what I mean? Especially with this Bears hangover. So, I just want to flush that today. That's really where I am. Get a couple of days off of Bears and then back to Bears on Sunday. That's where I am right now. Life itself is at a low point.
I hear you, man. Hey, by the way, Nick, are we broadcasting to because I don't see is Instagram highlighted? Are we broadcasting?
Yeah, we're good.
Okay. What about you, Trip, man? How's Sports Chicago style going, man? What you been up to over there?
It's cool. It's just, a lot of hours in creation and editing and the whole content, building and coming up with shit, and it's cool. It's a labor of love.
Bomb ass goddamn soup, man. Bomb ass soup. Bomb. I've been thinking about the shit since you did it. That bacon, that sour cream, and that cheddar cheese, and them green onions on that thing. Oh, was that green onion or chives? Which one?
Yeah, green onion.
Oh, dog. I've been telling my girlfriend about it. I told y'all, man, I can't get her to eat a pot of soup with me for nothing. It's just like I hate to make stuff like that and then be the only one eating it, man. So it's just like you like that pot of soup was a pipe dream over here in this house, man. I want to make that shit.
Yeah, I mean you got to, because everything in the garden, so it's healthy. Right. It's tasty. It's got a lot of flavors, and it's so it's good for you. It's good tasting going down, and it keeps you warm if you're cold, and it sticks to you.
Man, that shit look real good. I ain't bullshitting. I ain't just saying this just because we on this show, but real good ass pot, good looking pot of soup, man. But all right, listen, this without further ado, let's give them what they came here for. People want to know. When I woke up this morning, or sometime this, I don't know, kids, you sent the text message, right, saying that Nate Davis had been cut, right? And so we just paid, I think what's remaining, kids, if you feel like looking up the rest of his salary, I believe he's somewhere in the neighborhood of $3-4 million left, $3 to $5 million left on his contract. And we just paid that man to sit home and do nothing. And basically they put him on the waiver wire. So anybody that's willing to pick up that salary for the rest of the year and pay it out fully can grab Nate Davis. But you know what? I'm one of those people, man. I need volunteers, right? And you don't want no hostages. It was pretty clear. It became pretty clear something's going on between them and Nate Davis. Nate Davis is just laming out on him, and he decided that he wasn't going to be available to the Bears, and he made it clear to him by faking a back injury, I guess, and that was the last straw. Because otherwise, why wouldn't you have him on this team? Stay on this team, and for that amount of money, get what you can off of him. I see It's Crimson you did. He said it's $5 million in dead cat. Question.
Yep. That's what it is.
You want to share it so people can see it?
No.
You know, you don't
No,
want to.
it's just it's let me see if I can find it. Hold on. That's the numbers that I read earlier. This number is very close to it. So you're looking at the discrepancy between 10.8.9 and 16.641. So it's about 5 million.
Ooh, that was way under. That's way over what I thought it was going. I thought it was going to be somewhere in the 3.4 neighborhood or something like that. So
that's what a team would have to pay to bring him over. The remainder is what the Bears will owe him next season, but he'll be cut. So, well, actually, it's a fully guaranteed contract, so they have to pay it out, the remainder.
So they got it. That man's getting paid handsome just to sit at home with his feet up and some popcorn and watch the shit happen.
But that's what he's been doing. So
no, he's been part of the team. He's been doing everything, the team functions and stuff like that. He just haven't been useful on the field. He's been going through workouts and whatever the hell they do in the building for 8 hours out the day, 10, 12, however many hours they're in that building. He's been doing that. That's what you have to do per your contract. But to be available to the team when they need you is where he has let us down. He has let us down. And I apologize to the Super No Maniacs because I was one of those people that was defending Nate Davis and hoping that he would come around and get better. You know what I mean? All that kind of stuff. But Nate Davis has been a cancer since he's gotten here. And I give him the leeway of, his mom passing away and all that happening. I'll give him that. But since then, it's a couple things that might be going on here, Kedz and Trips. Something like that could have cost him his will to want to play the game. Or he's absolutely lazy and doesn't want to. He wants to do the minimum, and that's beneath the standards of this team. And they could just be running into cross wires when it comes to that. I believe one of those two things are very strong, or both.
Or he found a sucker. Remember that sucker analogy you were making yesterday? Found a sucker. Right? Oh, you're going to pay me $30 million? I can chill. Man. Guaranteed? Oh, yeah, I can totally chill. Ow, my back.
The problem, the whole situation was, it was not a new thing that Nate Davis wasn't a practice person.
It sounds like a sucker.
Right, because at the time he was a free agent, he was, respected as far as the available free agents at guard. But the word from his previous team, the Titans, was, he wasn't a practice kind of guy. And then he gets here, and his mama died, and it's like, oh, that's fucked up. But then, that could be his motivation for playing. Maybe she was the one that drove him to practice and pee-wees and shit. And now it's like he goes to the gridiron, he thinks of her. Or it could be that he's just a lazy fucker and wanted his money and doesn't really care about the game. Or it could be a little bit of both. We should know. Both things could be true. But either way, he's gone. And Poles, that's another shit stain on his record as far as free agents. Because, that was $30 million guaranteed. That's out the window for, 2 games of play, basically, that he didn't suck, when he did play. So, yeah, that's an X on Poles. And hopefully the team going forward is like, finally, somebody gets some accountability because, they see, that it's like, wait, this is our guy that's getting this amount of money. Because I know players know how much everybody's getting paid. You know what I'm saying? They don't want to talk about contracts, but players know.
If they don't know nothing else, hell yeah, they know.
Exactly. So it's like he's getting how much? Oh man, that's fucked up. And so, now that situation's hopefully been taken care of and we can keep it moving.
Look at what Crimson is saying. He's saying, am I crazy?
I see it.
The majority of Poles' moves have not been good. You know what? Had I known you'd come in here, Crimson, and thank you for the comment, and make a statement like that, I'd have probably put out a list of his transactions or something and put him up there as a graphic, because it's an interesting thing. That's an interesting point, man, because there's been some questionable ones. You know what I mean? At best, but majority. He said majority.
I know.
Not majority.
Hopefully, Crimson, you're talking about not only free agent acquisitions. You're talking about guys that picked up on practice squads, guys he let go, guys that he snatched up in free agency, guys he picked up in the draft. All that shit is to be considered.
Well, I mean, I look at it as more of he's made, some logical moves and some, reaches. But each move he's made has understanding behind it. It's like I get Tory Taylor is a weapon at a punter, but not when you need, offensive linemen. So, yes, he could be a good player and he could be good at his position, but that's not what we needed at the time. The swing on Claypool. We needed a big-time receiver for Justin Fields to throw to. It's like, well, this is a, Notre Dame product. Let's take a gamble on him. It didn't work, Shit happens. Nate Davis was a free agent acquisition. It's like, it didn't work, but there have been other free agent acquisitions that have worked. There have been, trades like Montez Sweat, that has been beneficial. And the talent that he's drafted, other than like your Velus Jones Juniors or, your later round guys, have been pretty decent. We still got to see what Pickens has. And we got to hope that Brisker comes back from his concussion. But he's, drafted some good, talented athletes that hustle to the ball. And so has his team building been the best? No. Has his decision, well, and this is maybe a different conversation, but when he got here, he was given the name of like 3 coaches that the McCaskies gave him to pick, and he picked Flus. Would things be different? Had he picked his own coach technically and not from a list to say, well, I picked a coach, but it was from a list they gave me? Would that be different? Who knows? But we are where we are. And it's like Poles isn't horrible, but he has made decisions that are questionable. But it's hard giving him a full, get the fuck out kind of grade, seeing that there is talent here. It's just being miscoached, but then that's also him. So I don't know. I'm perplexed.
I believe a lot of miscoaching going on, but go ahead, Kedz.
I'm just gonna say there's a good list of mess ups. I'm not gonna sit here and try and say that I'm out on Ryan Poles or that Ryan Poles should be fired or anything crazy like that. Like, I like Ryan Poles. I think he has a good heart and a good mind for football, but he's made some obvious Bears fan obvious mistakes that I think all of us saw coming. And the first one is the one that you just lit up there, Triple R. Walking in the door, they hand you a sheet and it says, yeah, so these are the guys that we interviewed. We like these 3. Under no circumstances would I hire anybody on that list. Like, it's just me. If I'm coming in the door,
do you remember the list, Kedz?
What?
Do you remember the list?
I don't.
I don't either.
I don't remember who was on it, but Flus was one of the names. It was like 3 of them because it was just a passing answer. It wasn't like a in-depth thing.
I got it was Flus. I think there was Dan Quinn. I think Dan Quinn, Flus. I think Harbaugh was at least mentioned. I don't know if he ever made
an interview him
or anything, but Dan Quinn, Flus, and one other guy, I think it was an offensive coordinator, some fucking where. I can't remember, but if anybody, one of the super nomaniacs can remember, let me know.
Maybe homie in New York, Daboll.
Brian Daboll, but I don't think he got him for no interview though.
I don't know, man. We've been through so many bloody coaches at this point. I couldn't even tell you. I'm surprised we got the other. I'm surprised we remember Dan Quinn. I'm just saying, right off the bat, he should have said no. Thanks, guys. I'm gonna interview my coaches myself and make sure that I have my guy. I'm gonna take a couple more weeks now that you've hired me. Thank you. Love that you've hired me. I'm gonna take a couple weeks and just zero in. If it is one of these guys on this list, perfect. But I'm gonna zero in on my guy.
Wait
and
a
instead,
minute.
he just.
I got a question. Because was if D'Amico Ryans was in that goddamn coaching cycle, I'm gonna get pissed off all over again. Was D'Amico Ryans in that coaching?
I think he was in that coaching cycle, but I think the Texans already had him. I don't believe he interviewed for this job. I don't think. I've been wrong before, and I really can't remember at the end of the day.
But now, speaking of interviews, something that we as a fan base have to remember. We say, let's go out and get, this coach or that coach or this GM or that GM, because they have the reputation or tops in their respective lanes. But we have to remember that these coaches and general managers have to want to come here and work. They have to want to be a part of this organization. And the scuttlebutt, the things that we hear leaking out as how this is, a misfit run organization, that may scare off some competent coaches or competent GMs. And it's like, nah, we don't want to, fuck with the Bears like that because of the McCaskies or because, they have their fingers in everything and want to control everything and not going to let me, be a professional and do what I do. So they're going to let me do part of what I do. And then they're going to want to change some stuff that, kind of throws everything, cattywampus. So when we say, well, you should have hired this guy or should have hired that guy, this guy or that guy might have been like, nah, fuck y'all.
And you know what, Trip? Some of the people that's close to the organization, that reporters and people that's gotten to know the McCaskies personally, I keep seeing this. I seen this in that coaching cycle when Harbaugh was up for grabs. When we got Flus, that coaching cycle. And that's really the first time I ever really paid any attention to it anyway, because, I just wasn't that tied into the shit. They hire who the fuck they hire. Let's go. But I had to because I'm involved in podcasts now. And we got to talk about it. Shit. And one of the things, a through line that I keep hearing, and it almost make me, I gave you mad props, Trips. I don't know if you watched the last couple of shows before Nomad at Night, but I think on Kedz's show, I mentioned how you were dropping dimes on that motherfucking show that we did on some extra sauce about the personality types.
True.
They seem to be reluctant to lean towards strong personalities. I would just say that stronger personalities kind of turns them off. They like, I guess, a Harbaugh is too strong of a personality, too forward. I don't know what it is, man, but if these people want to win, not only do they have to not be obtuse to people that have different personalities, one. Two, they have to be willing to, and the coaching staff and the GM have to be willing to bring in some bad boys. You got to bring in some hostile motherfuckers that really bring some attitude and temper to this damn team. We got a lot of nice motherfuckers on this team, and I like them. You know what I mean? But nice ain't gonna always get you no fucking win. You got to have.
They don't want people bigger than the Bears. That's simple. Dude, they can't be bigger than this brand. They're scared. They're scared of greatness. They're scared of what's the word? They're scared of assertiveness. They don't want to win.
Man, I don't know if it's they don't want to win. They're just scared of those personalities around them. Because, big personalities are big personalities. They're going to vacuum all the energy out of the room. You know what I mean?
Let me ask a question. Who's scared of that?
Apparently the upper brass.
Who? Like, we talking McCaskey?
Whenever it's brought up, it always filters back to George McCaskey. What is that his name? George?
Yes, that's his name. I don't know what he like. He's just like you know what I mean? He's just a director of the board. He really shouldn't have any like actual tangible say on the goings on of the business.
Next time,
who gives a shit? Like the George, who cares about whether you like the guy or not? You shouldn't be working together on football related things because you're not a football guy. You've told us that. You've told us all that.
Kids, next time you see a billionaire, I dare you to walk up to him and tell him that shit.
Well, but remember, he's a billionaire because of family, not because of anything he did. He's a billionaire because he was born to the legacy of, George Halas in the NFL. So it's not like he's gone out and been successful at doing anything. So according to, him, it's like he'll go to 31 flavors and it's like, yeah, give me the vanilla every time. No, not the vanilla bean. No, not the vanilla nut.
No French vanilla.
No French vanilla. No. Just vanilla. And he didn't like I don't know this, but I'm guessing that Ditka was the last, coach with quote unquote personality that we had here. And they couldn't wait to get his ass out the door after he won them a Super Bowl. So they don't like, your type A aggressive, coaches or general managers. They want to lay low, not make waves, and, just go along to get along. And this is what has gotten us.
They don't like like I'm just sick of some of this stuff. It's crazy to me, right? So my guy took over as director of the board in 2011. How many playoff games has we been in? Sorry, how many playoff games have we won since he became the director of the board? Take a wild guess.
That was 2011 when he got in.
He's been in he's born into the organization. This is just when he took over for his brother and became the director of the board. We've won nothing.
That shit stinks.
And Crimson is saying, we run Lovey. It's like Lovey was a winning coach. He was laid back on the outside, but he had that fire and intensity in the locker room and on the field. The players respected and followed him. And, he had a winning season and was released. And, fired, not released. And it's like, wait, y'all fired this dude after winning. Is what? Y'all mad because the players respected him? Or what is it? Just seems like if there's a locker room presence as a coach or a general manager that the players respect and look up to, the McCaskies just can't have that shit.
I don't understand it. But what I don't understand is again, okay, I'm trying to find like a tangible analogy for this, but I kind of can't because it's so ridiculous. It's like
Jimmy Johnson, Jerry Jones.
I can't even find an analogy. It's like Mr. Walton walking into the Walmart and like, you do this. He didn't give a rat's ass what's happening at the store. You know what I'm saying? He doesn't care what's happening at your franchise location. He's got money to throw around and grandkids to deal with.
Kids,
like,
what you're talking about versus what Tripp is trying to say is two different universes. You're talking about a doofy ass motherfucker who don't have a clue in the first place.
Because George is a doofy. Are you saying George is the doofy guy?
Yeah, he's doofy. And versus kind of, I said Tripp. I should have said myself. Versus what Jerry Jones and Jimmy Johnson went through, and Jimmy Johnson was becoming bigger than the damn star. He was becoming the star.
I can't make that. You see what I mean? That's why I can't make that and that comparison here because it kind of worked to a degree. And when I say it kind of worked, at the end of that relationship, Jerry Jones learned just about everything he could from Jimmy Johnson, said bye-bye, and took the reins over for real. It's his business, and that's his business to do. Right now, I'm not sure what George wants to do. Does he want to run the business, like the football business? Because he doesn't have any clue how to do it, and he's owned up to that as a fact. So I don't think he wants to do that. I think he just sort of wants to hang out at the business location and drive a scooter, which I'm cool with. But if that's what you want to do, what do you really have to do with the business part of this of the operation? Let these guys do their thing. Let them fire who they need to fire. Let them hire who they need to hire. If he comes in and he's rah, sis, boom, bah, and it makes you mad, Get on the scooter, bro.
Like,
you know what I'm saying? Like,
he's a motherfucker. He's a motherfucker with a lot of money, and he's just like that guy that's keeps repeating Bueller. I mean, he's one of those dudes just comfortable with just getting by. Okay, we still very, very we're a profitable franchise, and that's good. That's great. But to win it, the drive to win it, I would just say the drive to win it outside of the GM, it's the drive to win is there for the GM and the coaches, of course. But outside of that, his decision making needs to reflect that. And some of the stuff, and I'm gonna say this, man, and I keep on saying it. And what's going on? Let me see who just popped in there. Mo Fugra.
FFG's in there. Mo Fugra's in there.
Yeah. I want to say this, and y'all keep thinking this some redundant shit when I say it. But until the Bears get innovative with their uniforms and different things like that and start changing that old ass shit up.
All right.
I mean, this.
Okay, fashionista, you with your striped socks. Bring me some honey bears. Bring me that. All right, I'll grant you your striped socks if I can get some honey bears.
Dog.
Well, you're right to a degree, Nomad. I don't want to do the sock conversation again, but I do want to say that you are right because it is exemplary. What you're saying, like it's exemplary of how stagnant they are in their business practices.
Yeah, very much so. And it's depressing.
So you look around, like I was just watching, what was that, the Monday night game? What was it with the Texans, one of the younger franchises in the league, against who was that they were playing?
You're gonna tell me how much you like the Texans outfits, aren't you?
But god damn, man.
They were coordinated.
We have some of the most beautiful colors. We have one of the more beautiful color combinations. And then change that shit up, fucking do something, get somebody in there that has some good ideas, some great innovation ability, excite the team. I'm telling you guys, as a former football player, I get tired of saying this, but everybody wants to look fly. They want to have that drip on. And what does it do? Some people sitting on the outside looking in might say, no, man, that doesn't mean shit. Uniforms, dude. People play to a different level when they feel good and they look good. I'm telling you, I got living proof. When I look good, I play good. I knew a lot of people that felt that way. And I'm telling you, this franchise not willing to make variations to the uniforms, make this still a very unattractive place to go to because everything is marketed around 1985. Fuck 1985. We won that. It's over. Change up, get innovative, get a new look, make people excited about the fucking Chicago Bears, get some competent coaches in here, and this is Chicago. People are going to want to come here. That is part of the problem. I know everybody doesn't see it the same way as I do. But
no, you're like I say, you're right. They're super stagnant in their business practices, and it goes from top to bottom. I just give a rat's ass about fashion, and that's not just me. I could care less about fashion. But I will agree with you. That outfit was nice. That was a nice fit. It was right. Like, and it's about time somebody does something along those lines here. A fresh new take would be definitely invited. I'm kind of surprised they didn't do something like that just for Caleb Williams this season. But in any event, it's from top to bottom.
Kids, the solid navy and orange. Everybody loves those uniforms. They won't even fucking use them.
I thought this time around what was supposed to happen was that we had 2-3 layers before George McCaskey in this building, right? So like it used to be Ted, and everybody was like, Ted don't know what he's doing. And then they got rid of Ted. Ted left. Right? He's like, everybody, the jig is up. You know what I mean? Like 30 years later, the jig is up. I made enough money. I got to go. So Ted took off, and then we brought in Then we brought in basically the coach. They interviewed the coaches. This is just the most backward ass shit. So George interviewed the coaches, right? Because it wasn't Ryan. It was only George. He was the only guy left. Fired everybody, and Ted was gone. So George interviewed the coaches. Like, I like Flus. He's a good guy. We're gonna hire this guy. But wait, I got to get a GM first. Everybody left. I can't let this guy get on the plane. Hey, please be my GM. I'll probably give you some extra years if you do, because we're gonna flunk. But you have to hire this guy as well. So they hired the two of them. They're both in the building. Here we are where we are. And for every little decision, somehow they got to go back upstairs and talk to old man McCaskey.
Because it was not very comforting to see that when Flus made the decision that he made, part of the brain trust in the room that he had to speak to was Warren, which is understandable. He's the president. Poles, which is understandable. He's a general manager. But McCaskey was in there. What the fuck is he doing in there? Let them do their football thing. Why is he even there? I mean, yes, he owns a team and should be notified, but he don't need to be in them meetings. Let them do their football thing, and he can go like working in bonsai garden or something.
It's like the Heinz. It's like the people at Heinz coming into Kansas City and telling Andy Reid what's good. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah, they're sponsored by ketchup, but you know what I'm saying? The ketchup doesn't like it. You know what I'm saying? They got other business, and this is what I've been trying to say to George.
He has no other business.
I get another business. Invest. Take the money that these people have been putting in your pocket for decades and build another business. Focus on that shit and let these guys focus on football.
Right.
Go get him a 30-year-old girlfriend or something.
This conversation can go too far. All I'm gonna say to end this one up, because we can end up bitching about this shit for a long time.
Blackout jerseys.
I'm not telling you. All I know is the rest of the NFL is Amazon and fucking Apple, and we're the goddamn yellow and black fucking Dollar General.
Bro, we're the yellow pages.
Man, this shit is. I'm tired of being stale looking. You know what I mean? And having the same old shit go on year in and year out. But we're gonna park that conversation for now, man. We're gonna move into something else. Again, I don't know that Jaquan Brisker is out again this week. They flat ruled him out. No, it's a day-to-day or we'll wait to game time. Nope, he's out. Yeah, I don't know that Jaquan Brisker is gonna ever play for us again.
Yeah,
he might not.
What do y'all think about that? They flat ruled him out.
I never heard. How many weeks is this now?
5.
5 weeks now.
Man, we're going deep now. I unfortunately wouldn't be very. What it do, Minister Charles Johnson? I would not be surprised if, you know what I'm saying? I would not be surprised if he retires. It's not crazy considering what we're talking about. If he's still feeling bell rung 5 weeks later, that's not good, bro.
That's not in the itinerary for a kid that young. He's not thinking about that. I think it's kids. You know what I think it is? I think it's too much risk for the organization, and they're worried about it, and they don't want to play him. That's what I think it is. What's up, Minister Charles?
They would put him on IR and like give him a settlement or something before that would happen to keep him on the roster and just not play him because they're worried about a lawsuit or something. I think it's just more of he's got a concussion, and those things are, iffy at best because not everybody's brain is going to react or heal the same way. And if he's, like Kedz was saying, still having those symptoms, and it's like, yeah, you ain't playing, kid. That's more for his own good because at his age, he can still possibly have a future where, he's coherent and, no CTE involved. Because, it's a given that playing football is going to affect your body in negative ways. There are guys with hip replacements, knee replacements, all over joints. And that's fucked up. Guys that can't get out of bed and more without creaking and cracking. But the brain is totally different, in my opinion. And you injure that, going forward, it's a hell of a lot easier to injure it, just like any other body part. And playing, safety and the way he tackles, leading with his head, Now it's just counting on to the next one. And the next one is like maybe even a forced retirement kind of thing. So I think it's just they're being safe more so to cover, young Kwani B as opposed to their asses on, playing them out there.
You know what, Trip? I would imagine, man, Jaquan Brisker is kind of like he was like the emotional leader of that defense. He brought all the attitude, all the emotion to that defense, and his spirit is like that's the thing about Jaquan Brisker I love the most is his fucking spirit. I mean, that motherfucker's a warrior. When I tell you Jaquan Brisker is a warrior, I mean it's a warrior. I got instance after instance to prove it to you. Not only since he's been here, but I watched him through college and was so happy when we got this cat. And you got to think about the human element of it too, fellas, because there's personalities in there and there's relationships. Jaquan Brisker is tight and close with, not only his teammates, they love him and they love him. The coaches love him. The front office, they love that cat. And so it ain't easy. I would imagine there's somebody in that building that knows, man, we can't play Jaquan Brisker again because we got to protect him from him. And it's hard to break that to a young person who feels like he's invincible. And in order to do that to him softly, you just gently let him know, like, dog, this is not good for you. I think the human part of it, and I would credit everybody in that building that's managing that with Jaquan and helping him understand that this ain't good for you. And if there's a legit, which I know there is at this point, a legit concussion concern after 5 weeks, they've got to find a way to coddle that guy and help him, I guess, process this shit emotionally and spiritually. It's a big deal to tell somebody. Like, I can think about it right now, back when I knew that I couldn't play no more. Right now, I can still call on those feelings that I had, man. And those are some of the worst times in my life. I didn't know what to do with myself after that. I didn't know how life was going to go on because that's all I had done. You know what I mean? That's all I had done. That's all I knew. And so trying to gently tell someone that, good luck.
Yeah, there is no gently telling them that. You look at all these guys, warriors, gladiators, if you will. Kwani B has yet to make that second contract, so he's not set for life like a Tua is, who's had the concussion history and, can walk away with, $200 million guaranteed or whatever it is. Kwani's not set like that yet. So he may be just trying to suck it up, get that next contract, and then what happens, happens. And, it's kind of tough to say, kid, yeah, it's best, medically if you don't play because of brains, blah, 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 blah. He ain't trying to hear that. He was like, yeah, I'll just strap it up extra tight. I'll be more careful. Let me get my ass back out on the field. So, what are you going to do?
I'm just saying you're saying that, but he might be bell rung, right? Like he might still actually be feeling effects. And that's what worries me. We're looking at it a little bit politically right now. I think the kid's bell's rung. If you reach this deep,
what? I knew somebody that went through it in college and went through the concussion protocol and took him 2 weeks. And he just couldn't get over the light sensitivity. That was his thing. Without glasses on, there's lights giving him headaches and shit like that. That kind of thing. I was just like, really? He's like, man, dude, I walk in a room full of lights, man, and it's bright in there. He said, my fucking head just started thumping. I was like, really?
Sometimes to the level of migraines, right? Like there's different degrees of this thing. He could be really hurting right now, right? He could be really hurting, and I think that he is, because the way that they do this thing is they look at it for a couple of days to see if you have that type of sensitivity, and if you do, you don't play that week. Then they revisit it again the following week, put you through the same paces. If you're still feeling the effects, okay, cool, we'll let you sit. It'll take another week. Usually it's a 3-week situation, worst come to worst, and they let you back in. If it's a recurring concussion situation, it becomes a recurring 3-week. At this point, we're pushing week number 5. So again, After they looked at him in week number 3, they definitely looked at him last week too. If he's still feeling it in week 5, I'm a little bit worried about Jaquan. And again, I hope he can get over this, because once you ring that bell, sometimes it just stays wrong.
It's a bad situation. And look, shout out to Black Diamond. He said he just listened to the new OC, and he's sounding like he knows what he's doing.
See, I thought you were talking about like OC, the rapper, for a minute there. Like that's what we're talking about.
Right OC now. Brown, baby, OC Brown.
You know what I'm saying? I'm not sure if I'm trying to hear OC Brown. Really.
Hey, stick around, Petty. I got something for you with that, because I just can't casually talk about that. I got some real thick stuff to talk about when it comes to Thomas Brown, man. I don't know that we realize what we have, but we're gonna talk about it. Just stick around for a minute. I'm just getting through some of this Bears stuff that we got going on, injuries. By the way, Braxton and Darnell Wright are practicing, in case y'all didn't know. That's a great sign, because we need them right now, dude. We need those two motherfuckers right now to add some more, to get the depth back where it needs to be, get the starters back out there, and give us a chance to compete in this game. And, you know, Larry Bourne wasn't terrible looking at the all-22. He wasn't. Not even Matt Pryor probably gave up. From how much, I'll just say I'm about 3/4 into it. I'm about 3/4 into that film. And in that part of the film, watching those guys, I would say Matt Pryor was a little more susceptible than Larry Bourne. I would just say that. And that's just the amount of film I've seen so far. But Larry Bourne, good swing tackle, great swing tackle, gets you out of a game. You know, he doesn't need to be a starter on the left side. Not saying that he can't go on the right side and play right tackle better than he played left. He probably could. That's his natural spot. But they wasn't as bad as you think they are, man. It's a lot to talk about there. But Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright are back in practice, and it sounds like they're on track unless something happens throughout the week. You know, it looks like they got a chance to play this week, and that was good to hear about. But and also Kieran Amagaji. Anybody want to speak to any of that? Y'all go right ahead. You're gonna need him.
Yeah, I mean, it's nice to get him back, but you know, it's like, whatever.
Yeah, I mean, we're gonna talk about the specifics of this game against Green Bay and why they pose such a threat to this team at this particular time, man. It is not a good look right now, man, for what the Green Bay Packers can do to us, given Caleb's where he's at right now. We're going to talk about how they can break this game down and make it interesting. Crim just said Bourne was bad. It doesn't look so bad next to the other guys. He wasn't bad, Crimson. I mean, it was times when he gave up plays, but I would just say more times than not, he was making his block, and a lot of times Caleb was just holding that ball too long, and no offensive line can hold up for 5, 6, 7 fucking seconds, man. It's just, you know, naturally you're gonna end up giving your leverage up, and you're gonna get to the quarterback. But that's a whole other conversation. Let's get to this, man. Let me pull this up.
Hey, does anybody else drink beer, you know, with olives in it?
Hell no. Who do that?
With olives?
Yeah, the saltiness of the olives in your beer. It's like a Minnesota thing, yeah.
What you got, green or black olives? That's green in there?
Green.
That looks good, though, man. I like olives anyway. You can olives on anything right about. I eat olives on an old boot.
Yeah, I mean, next time you open up a beer, throw some olives up in there, and it's like, oh, shit.
Man, that sounds good, man. I'm about to try that, man.
I will give that a shot.
Thing, right?
Yeah, I mean, because just the saltiness to go with the beer, you know, it reminds you of like when you eat pretzels or chips and you're drinking beer and the saltiness of the pretzels and chips, except they're the olives and you can chew them after it absorbs some of the beer as well. So it's like a little snack with your drink.
Hey, Minister Charles says, Nomad, your optimistic points of view almost had me off the ledge. Then you make the Green Bay comment. I got you, Minister Charles. Just hold on, me. Y'all hang in there. I'm gonna get there. I'm building this up until we get to the point. I got some other bad stuff that I got to talk about first before we put that out in the ether. But hold on, check it out. So this guy right here. Let me put us over here on this kind of screen so everybody can see us talking, I guess.
Oh, we got Ricky Stromberg because that's for real. Okay,
exactly. What do you remember about this guy, kid?
He's good.
Just talk for a second. I gotta run right quick.
He's good. He was definitely one of the centers that I think everybody was looking at as a potential Chicago Bear, not this year, but in the previous year's draft. He wasn't the first pick, but I think he was like the third. Again, third rounder sounds about right. He's like the third or fourth center guard in the list of center guards from 2023. I scouted him for sure. He's pretty good. I'm glad they finally got themselves a little bit of depth. Even if they snuck him off the practice squad, that's fine by me. So he went to the Commanders and just didn't check out.
Well, no, what happened was he went to the Commanders and had an injured release settlement because he had 2 surgeries so far on his knee.
So he's never been out there at all.
Right. And, the Commies, they signed Taylor Badass from Dallas as a free agent. And whoever they have backing him up, is who was on their roster. Whereas Stromberg was a free agent because of the injury issues. And I think it was Dr. Wester post on Twitter that was like, the second surgery could have been just a cleanup from the first surgery, or it could have been the first surgery didn't take, and so they had to do something else. But either way, 2 surgeries on the same knee isn't, good. But it's not a career killer type injury or surgeries. He can still have a career as long as the rehab is positive.
So, yes, Mofugra, we did get an injury-prone lineman. But we have another injury-prone lineman, I suppose is probably the best way to put that.
Well, look, fellas, there's more than one way to look at this, man, because thank you, Trips, because I didn't have time to dig this up. All I saw was we signed Ricky Stromberg. I knew his situation, and he was sitting in front of some Tyler Badaz or whatever his name is.
Badass.
And whoever the second guy was, both of them are Wisconsin centers. And that made me help me understand why he ended up on a practice squad. But I did not know that he had gone through a couple of surgeries. That means I'm gonna have to ask the doc to come on the show again, the good doc, to come on the show because I got a lot of faith in this guy. Why? Because I studied him. I studied him 2023 when he was coming out, and I'm telling you, this dude is worth the investment. I don't know if he'll ever get all the way healthy, but he was graded as the 11th best offensive lineman, not just center, not just guard, offensive lineman in that draft. And he had that little injury history or whatever, but I'm telling you, if sometimes all you got to do is invest, give somebody time to get all the way right. And I'm telling you, this guy was probably to me, and I got to think about, I think it was another guy from Mississippi and maybe one of there was a lineman from the Big Ten that was a center. It might have been Olawatimi or somebody like that. I might have had a little bit higher than him, but I'm not a actual scout. I just look at what I see on tape, and I'm telling you, Ricky Stromberg, if they can help him work through these kinks, we got a fucking steal. I'm just telling you that right now. This motherfucker is impressive. He's well, you see the height and weight. I mean, he's a dog. He's still gonna need to put on some muscle because I like to see him get up to about 325. To be able to deal with some of these big dogs in there. You got big dog from New York. You deal with a motherfucker like that. You gotta have some more bottom to you, man. He's got a nice anchor to him, man. He's really quick with his hands. He's athletic. I mean, there's nothing I didn't like about Ricky Stromberg when I was watching him on film. I was just like, this dude's gonna be a dog. But the injury stuff, thank you, Trip. I did not know any of that.
Yeah, so hopefully it's something that, he can recover from. And because, I don't doubt that he's a dog or good player. But it's just, it's like, okay, we got a developmental lineman. Yay. Who's coming off of 2 knee surgeries. Oh. And so it's like, yay. Oh. Yay, happy. Oh, damn. It's like, granted, you're not going to find free agent, offensive linemen who are, good to go in every aspect, physically and mentally and game-wise. This guy's 2 out of the 3. Mentally and game-wise, he's been good, but physically,
yeah.
Go ahead. Go ahead, kids.
I got nothing, man. I'll let you try to be optimistic here.
No, I got a feeling about him, man. I got a feeling about him. I had a feeling about him when he was coming out. Looking at those centers I knew we needed one. This is, we're talking about the what's his name? What was his name? The center we had that couldn't nobody stand and
Musty.
When Mustafa was here, man, and I was looking hard at those centers, man. I'm just like, which one of these guys can come in here and plug and play right now? And he was one of those dudes you see the film and you could tell he had the size, the temperament. He's nasty, man. He had everything you wanted. Everything you wanted. I still think he's got everything you want. He probably just needs time to get all the way right. And I like the investment, man. And I think anybody that can, within the sound of my voice, that can understand that part of it, it's an investment. And you got a 3rd round pick. You got a 3rd round pick for free. Somebody you probably should have drafted. You know what I mean? You got him for free. Now you can just sit him down, keep him off the practice squad as much as you can, and keep him, rehabbing, getting him where he needs to be. And I'm telling you, if we can get him right, he's going to be a steal.
No, he signed to the practice squad.
Yeah. They got to get him off the practice squad.
Well, no, see, the thing is, if another team wants to sign him, they have to sign him to his active roster, to their active roster, rather. And if his knee ain't right, what team is going to do that now?
Nobody. He's fine.
So that's why the practice squad is kind of safe at this time of year for this kind of player. And, it's a calculated risk, a calculated gamble by polls. It's like, we know the kid is talented on the field, but physically he just ain't been able to get right. So, let's throw him on a practice squad, see if we can get him right. And then now we have, a 3rd round pick at center going forward that's developing. So I get the logic, and I hope it works out. I just can't get too excited about it until I know, he's physically good to go.
I get it, man. I put a lot of work in that draft. I put a lot of work in this draft, but that was the first one I ever did for, just to be able to broadcast and stuff. So when I tell you I went berserk, I spent hours on top of hours on top of hours on top of hours in that draft. And the center position was one of those spots that I knew we had a need and we were going to have to probably get somebody. And so I spent a lot of time watching this dude on tape. And I'm talking about impressive, man. This motherfucker was everything a Chicago Bear is supposed to be. Not this whole injury history, man. This is like smacking me with the reality stick. I didn't know that was going on, but I wouldn't doubt anybody of his age, and I think he's only like 23 years old, 24 maybe. Yeah, I think you use a flyer on a guy like that and see if you can get him where you need to be, and you got to steal. You got an absolute steal. So.
Yeah, so one thing is we can't put him on IR to protect him, unfortunately, because that would preclude him from being able to sign a contract elsewhere, right? So it's about his pocket more so than the Bears' pocket. If somebody wants to sign him, they can. Bears can as well, so there is that. Is what it is. I think he's a great developmental prospect at both the guard and the center position, more so the center than the guard. I thought he looked really good at that position. But at the end of the day, I'm not really mad at Coleman Shelton. I think Coleman Shelton's doing an all right job. I got to put that out there again. As far as this As far as this offensive line is concerned, it's been a nightmare and disaster the entire season. But I am going to say the snaps are getting to Caleb Williams. You know what I'm saying?
Mo's got an interesting question up there, and I don't know the answer to it. He says, Mo Fugler says, can we put him on IR for the rest of the season to protect him?
That's literally what I was just answering. No, we can't do that. We would have we would have to sign him first to the active roster.
So I think when he
roster in order to put him on IR.
When he comes from a practice squad, now we might have to get into some semantics and actual bylaws. I think when you sign,
he was a free agent. He was released from the Commanders with a injury settlement.
Oh, okay. So I thought he was grabbed off of the practice squad.
No, because if you take somebody off of another team's practice squad, you have to put them on your active roster.
That's what I was getting at, Trip. That's what I thought was going on. That's exactly what I thought was going on. But they grabbed him. Okay, so yeah, I don't know what they can do with him.
Like I said, so he was a free agent cut by another team. We can put a free agent like that on a practice squad. We can sign a free agent like that. Right now, they decided to put him on the practice squad, which means he's open season for everybody else as well. They can come poach him and sign him. If the Bears want to keep him, they have to sign him onto the active roster. And then if they wanted to put him on IR, they could do so. So that's how that works out.
Okay. Right, but there's less of a possibility of that happening because he was a free agent, for so long that no team now is going to come along and be like, yeah, we want him on our 53-man roster, even though he can't play.
Good point, too.
Right. Okay, so FFG asked me, he said, hey, Nomad, who are the healthy O-linemen available to play? The only change I know is Nate Davis is gone. Ricky Stromberg came in and was grabbed. Now, I know that they added Jake Curran, who was in training camp with us and ended up getting cut, brought back to the practice squad. They're bringing him up to the 53. But if you want me to, I'll go to ESPN's. Let me look here.
And while you're doing that, FFG, there was this girl I used to know that was from Minnesota, and all her people, they would what we call bar crawls. They were crawling from bars, but they were on snow machines, snowmobiles, whichever one you call them. And so they would be up in Minnesota, and they have on their snowsuits, and they go from bar to bar on their snow machines drinking, and they would put olives in their beer. I just thought it was everybody in Minnesota did that shit. Maybe it was just them. I don't know, but it's not bullshit, you asshole.
Touche. All right, here we go. I'm gonna put up the. All right, so here we go. Excuse me. Questionable, Braxton Jones. Can y'all see this?
No, you got to clear the Stromberg pick.
Oops. Oh, let me get that down. All right, let me get back to the screen. All right, so what I'm seeing is we have Braxton Jones, who's questionable. Larry Borum, Kieran Amagaji, questionable. Of course, we got Matt Pryor. Tevin Jenkins, he didn't practice today. Bill Murray, IR. Coleman Shelton's healthy. Doug Kramer's healthy. Ryan Bates is healthy. Matt Pryor, Darnell Wright is questionable. Jake Kieran. So he's the person that got brought up, and he's probably relief in case Tevin can't go for the most part.
Yeah, so again, I don't think Tevin he didn't even practice today. So
right. So Tevin to me is more the question mark than any of them. Braxton Jones and Darnell Wright coming back to practice tells me that whatever they've been doing to get right, they got back to the practice field today. They damn near ready. But Tevin Jenkins not practicing on a Wednesday, that's not good. And I'm imagining that they brought Jake Kieran up just in case, so they can have something to back up, center and guard on the right side. We juggling with a whole bunch of shit, man. I'm telling you, man, it's not good dealing with a Packers team that's really good in their front, man. So I just don't like it whatsoever, man. I hope that answered your question. That's about all I can tell you. But Jake Curran coming up on to the 53 says that they are worried about somebody not being able to make it. I mean, it's probably
well, I mean that also with the release of Nate Davis, he was on the 53, so that could just be a total just O-line replacement.
Yeah, like for like, they needed to have another body there just in case. It also means they're going to start Ryan Bates in the Nate Davis positions.
Man, this is not a good week to be having offensive line problems, man, because good Lord, dude, the fucking Packers, man, these motherfuckers. There's very few teams out here in the NFL that can equally effective on offense and defense like they are. They're one of the rare teams in the NFL that can bring it to you offensively and defensively. They can turn the ball over just like they can score touchdowns. This is a bad week to have a shuffle in your line, this is what leads me to this point, man, because here's a situation right here I'm about to pull up on the screen.
Oh, and FFG is the part of Minnesota where they say "yeah" and "don't you know" a lot. I guess that's
that part.
Yeah, don't you know?
I wonder if Bobby Jenrick lives nearby.
It's cold up there all goddamn time, ain't it?
Well, that's why they got snowmobiles. Like, people get bicycles. You know what I'm saying? Because they want to get to the corner store. They got to fire up the snow machine because they got 18 inches of fresh powder.
Damn.
And it's like, 20 below zero or some shit.
You know what? Minnesota's probably awesome. That's actually awesome.
I like the people in Minnesota.
I'm just saying that, like, it just reminds me of some of like Canadians would do that, and in some cases they do, but it has to be sort of a bit of a tight-knit community to pull off what you're trying to describe here, Triple R. And there's tight-knit communities like that in Canada. I'm just not a part of those communities.
You're aware of, we're just not a part of them.
I'm not a part.
I've been in very few places where there was the nicest people I ever met.
Yeah, didn't you know?
Minnesota was one of the places I've been. Minnesota, Wisconsin, parts of Wisconsin, nicest people I ever met in my fucking life. I mean, some really just nice ass people for no damn reason. And when you from around here, you're just not used to that. You know what I mean? It's just like, damn, you're a very nice motherfucker. Come here, man. I'm gonna give you a hug, man. You motherfucker, you nice, man.
It's cool because I did some organizational stuff up there, and just culturally, you got your descendants from the Vikings, your Nordic types. Then you got your native, indigenous types, and they're kind of just living up there chilling. And it's like it's cold as fuck the majority of the year. And, but they had prints, so it was all good. But Minnesota is a very different kind of just landscape as far as people goes. And, just kind of a melting pot all kind of together. But they don't melt because it's too goddamn cold.
I live with the cold and the snow. Just to be around nice ass people like that. There was some nice ass people, man. I like that, man. That's my spirit creature, to be around good people that's warm and welcoming and all that kind of stuff. I just love those people up there, man. I really do.
They're very warm and welcoming.
See, the thing is, I don't think you need like a license to drive them things, right? So you can just go and drink and wind up in a gully, a ditch.
Literally, it ended up in a ditch.
Like I'm dead serious, like a snow-filled ditch, and you just kind of roll your way back up onto your snowmobile and be out. But good times out there.
I did meet a couple motherfuckers who was a little too nice. I'm just like, man, this motherfucker is overly nice. Like, motherfucker, I'm worried about you, man. You might be one of them motherfuckers that's secretly collecting puppy heads or something.
Jeffrey Dahmer on that ass. Hey, you want a drink? No, I'm good. I'm good. Thank you, though, homie. It's all good. It's all love, baby. All love. But
I've never encountered anybody who who collected puppy heads. If that's
have
really
you ever been like someplace like out in the bar at a party, out commingling, which I know you hate to do, but somebody just gives you that vibe as it's like, yeah, I will cut off your face and wear it as a mask for the next 3-4 days. You know, when you get that vibe from people, it's like, yeah, I gotta go.
Yeah, never.
It was like I watched I don't know if anybody watches Fargo or anything like that, man, but
loved it.
Fargo, hey, FFG, tell me straight up, is Fargo a good representation of what Minnesota is?
See, I've only seen the movie, not the TV.
Oh, you haven't seen the show?
No, only the movie.
No, the movie. Actually, that's what I'm talking about. The movie.
You're talking about the movie. Movie's all right. Movie's good. Show's dope though.
Let us know, man. But right now, let me pull something up right quick. Let me get this off the screen. Hey, welcome in, Marlon. I saw you down there. Let me pull this on the screen, man, because listen, the illustration, I'm not.
The stars going the wrong way.
Yeah, I know, man. I had the wrong goddamn graphic up, but he's still a rising star, man. It just
from a different perspective.
So listen, man. You gotta send us an email so we can retrieve it, and we can get an email. Don't put it in the chat if you don't want to, but you can send it to Nomad. There you go. You see it on the bottom of the screen. Taken by. If you want to come on, give us a good representation of what Minnesota is. I'd love to hear about it.
Don't you know? Yeah.
All right. So, listen, Thomas Brown, man. I remember when he was in the conversations about, he initially he was one of the offensive coordinators that was in the running for the job. Something told me he wasn't going to get the job because you had your known commodities out there in a situation where we just got through getting a guy that, never really coached a, offense coordinating an offense versus a guy that just did it for a spell over here in Carolina. And so I didn't think he was going to be a guy that was going to get the job. But I was just like, they need to get that guy in the building. And all the time I was checking him out. All the time I was checking this dude out, running down interviews, people and seeing what people thought about him. Trip, you know how it is when you go around and let's just say, politically correct. You ask somebody about someone, they're going to be giving you all the nice things. Oh, he's a great person. Especially after somebody dies or something. They're the best person in the damn world. Knowing there's a devil when there's a lie. When there's a lie. But this motherfucker, I'm telling you guys right now, I'm telling you, Super Nomadiacs, we got lucky getting this dude in the building. Does that mean he's going to come in here and change the fortunes of Caleb Williams overnight? Nah. I'm telling you, there's something about this cat. And if anybody saw that presser today, you can see exactly what I'm talking about, his presence. You can tell his presence is he's got a personality and a presence about him that can carry a room. You can lead men. This guy has got he's got some Mike Tomlin to him. I was so impressed with listening to this guy and listening to some of the people that's worked with him, some of the players and their reflections of him. I'm telling you guys, we got a guy, and he's part of the reason why I feel so good about if they do fire Flus before the season is over. I know for a fact that we got a couple people, him being one of them, that can really take over a room and really lead men into battle, and they'll respect him. This motherfucker, I'm telling y'all, my instincts don't lie to me. We got one, I'm telling you. We got one.
For those that have seen the crew at Sports Chicago Style that I'm working with over there, I would channel Trip right now by saying, on the optimistic side of things, that new offensive coordinator Thomas Brown, coming in during Packers week is serendipitous because the Packers don't know what to expect. They don't know what Thomas Brown does or does well or what he will have this team doing. And I think that Brown is the thought oriented kind of guy that would be like, look, I'm the passing coordinator, so I know that this route or these route combinations don't work as what Waldron was doing. I know that having plays or routes that, take 6 seconds to get open wasn't working. And that's what Waldron was doing. If he came in and his press conference said that he's not, reinventing the wheel. So he's going to work with what the existing playbook is. It's just how to call the plays and when. And he's going to be up in the booth, which I would prefer my coordinators to be, so they can see the whole field and then get on the phone with your guys, during timeout. So when they're not on the field. So, the positivity is, hey, Brown took over before as an offensive coordinator with the Panthers when Bryce Young was there. And it's like, well, the Panthers sucked. It was like, yeah, well, that was Frank Wright. When Brown took over, they had some of their better offensive games. So just looking at that little brief resume, that little brief history, it's like, let's fucking go. But then also part of me is like, well, dude, this dude couldn't get a job as an offensive coordinator. He was always the bridesmaid and never the bride, and he's just good enough to get you by. So what are we doing? Okay, I guess we're just keeping a placeholder until Flus gets to hire a third or fourth offensive coordinator, or he's a placeholder because at the end of the season, Poles and Warren knows that he's letting Poles and Flus go, or Poles know that Flus, I don't know. So just looking at this week, I'm going with the positive. The Packers don't know what to expect aspect. And Xavier McKinney was talking shit to DJ Moore. So we're going to have, that going.
Okay. I'll try and keep it positive. Let's see how this goes. He's a decent prospect. The reality here is he's a run game guy, former running back. I'm hoping maybe this is the resurgence of the run game this week. Again, Packers have no clue Packers have as much clue what's going to happen this Sunday as any of us here have a clue, because God only knows what's going to happen. New guy, new situation, same playbook. So it'll be interesting. My hopes is, again, that he looks at the situation and does what everybody and their mom suggested be done this season, and that is run the rock, minimize the requirement for the quarterback, and let him learn. And that's just not what's gone down at any point. I think it happened for 2 games maybe this season. And during both of those games, DeAndre Swift was a big part, and he had fantastic games. You got to work in Roschon somehow. He's that running back guy, and I think he may be able to hopefully attempt to lean on that run game. So I'm excited to see potentially something that looks like that. Otherwise, not all that excited.
Listen, I know everybody doesn't, I guess maybe I sound like I get excited about every little thing. I just think the world of this guy, man. And I'm going to pull up Black Diamond's comment when I think he's talking about when I said he gives you some Mike Tomlin vibes. When you're watching this guy, man, his presence in there, it's like that's what you need, man. That's what you need. That's what you got to have, like some of the particular questions he was answering, and it was about his communications with Caleb, and he said, "I'm direct. I don't hold no punches. I tell it like it is, and this is what it is. I'll let you know what I know you need to fix and correct, and that's what it is. And we start working on it." And his communication lines, I know for a fact that Caleb, I don't think he's had a guy like this to bounce shit off of and get clear and decisive information and direction from. I don't know if he's running to a guy like this. I think he's the perfect guy for Caleb, because he's not one of those guys he's going to go over there and be mouthing off to. Number one, here's another thing that I need to mention. He's going to be in the booth. For the first time since Flus has been here, this is the first offensive coordinator that I've known to have to work from the booth. What's the difference between a guy working on the sidelines and the booth? Really simple shit. Number one, if you're a guy that is in-game adjusting and calling your shit based off of what the tendencies you see the defense is trying to do to you, the best perspective you can get of the situation is from above. That mandate that Flus came in here with, talking about he wants all his coaches on the sideline so they can have a direct line of communication with the players and feel the game and all that kind of shit. I'm just like, that's kind of stupid, because everybody doesn't feel that way. Like, you can have coordinators that's calling a game and not feel like he's giving you the best perspective because he's on the goddamn sidelines and you can't see the game quite the same.
Well, let's put this in the perspective of like video game players, where it's like the perspective that your camera angle is. You know, do you go to the sideline view because you can see this? Do you go to the back behind the quarterback view because you can see, you know, more of the field? Do you go the wide angle? Do you go to the very tight? So the communication and the vision of the coordinators being able to see the whole field is, I think, more attractive than the communication of being next to them ear to ear when they're ground level and can't see the whole field. So, I mean, if you pick up the phone and you're there next to them, talking to them, basically. But you can, as a coordinator, see what everybody's doing to figure out what's going on.
So he wasn't McVay's OC. He was an assistant head coach, which is a different title. He also, I don't think he called any plays under McVay. Called plays with Frank Reich in October. Gave back Frank Reich the job, and then he took it over again, or something to that effect. In any event, here, like my it kind of is what it is for me, because I don't expect any of these guys to be here in January. And that's, you know, as excited as you get about it, Nomad, and as much as you tout the guy, it's funny, his wife kind of said exactly that in the wake of, you know, his situation in Carolina. She was like, you know, if there's somebody else who can call plays, by all means, bring them in. You know, we're calling plays because we're the only guy who can call the plays, and you know, until we're not here, because everybody's fired, right? Like, and that's basically what she said. It was kind of a funny statement for her to make, but it was just a real statement about that Carolina situation. But I kind of feel the exact same. I don't see any of these guys surviving post-January. Not a single one of these coaches.
Kid, your glass half empty. You need to lead with that, and you're not very optimistic about none of it, and I get it. And I'm
going to ask you a question though. Do you want any of these guys as the head coach of the Chicago Bears next year?
I would love to see Thomas Brown. I would love to see Eric Washington get that job.
Really?
Hell yeah. They can go and get the offensive coordinator of choice.
Trip, you want any of these guys to be the head coach of the Chicago Bears?
I can say that I've seen enough of Flus that I'm good with that. Now, Brown, you know, I haven't seen him, so I don't know. I can't make that judgment or determination. Coach Washington, he seems to be a decent defensive coordinator, but we don't know how many plays he's actually calling because, you know, Flus is still there, you know, micromanaging that side of the ball. So, I mean, it's hard to say that any of these underling, you know, assistant coaches or coordinators under Flus should all be gone, when it's like, yeah, we don't know what the hell they can do. But if we are hiring a new head coach, we need to let him bring in his staff. So we can't say, well, yeah, I like what Brown did, so we'll keep him and hire a new head coach. Or I like what this coordinator did, but we'll keep him and hire a new head coach and handcuff them coming in, you know, out the gate.
Well, you know, Crimson, objectivity goes two ways, man. It swings both ways. You can be objective one way and objective another. You know what I mean? I'm just more of like there's something about this dude. There's something about this dude in particular, man. And I believe if given the opportunity, he'll seize it and never look back. And yes, Black Diamond, I think he's absolutely Matter of fact, let me ask you guys, the Super Nomaniacs and the guys on the panel, Kedz and Trips. Do you get the sense that Caleb has probably been coddled a little bit too much thus far? Give me a thumbs up in the chat if you got the sense. I'm not saying that you think he's got preferential treatment or anything like that, but I think they babied him a little too much and coddled him a little bit. And I think this guy right here might be exactly what he needs at this point in time.
Coddle is a bit of a generic word in this situation, so I'm not sure if he's been babied or if he's been overcoached. I don't know what it is right now. So, you know, the one thing I will say is that you know, is he not the is Thomas Brown the passing game coordinator now promoted?
He was, yes.
The only my only real beef with this is just that apparently there hasn't been much communication between him and Caleb thus far, which I find a little bit weird, but you know, is what it is.
I'll just throw this out there before I give the answers to that John Gruden wants to be a head coach again, and teams are interested.
Keep that motherfucker right where he is.
Okay.
All right, but go ahead, Kedz. Go ahead.
Yeah, see, there you go. See, so, and I know Crimson is with me for sure, because he mentioned it earlier on. I would like somebody who knows what the fuck they're doing. And again, try not to swear on this show. But that's all I'm asking for at this point. I'm kind of sick of maybe this guy might know what he's doing.
They all know what they're doing, kids. You want a
guy.
Oh,
really? Oh, so Matt Eberflus knows what he's doing.
They all know how to coach and scheme and do it.
Okay.
Hey, kids, I'm telling you, when it comes down to it, it's the in-game decisions that make the difference between this coach or that one. How you run a room and how much these dudes respect you and will run through a wall for you makes the difference. Every last one of them are qualified. They just like Shane Waldron, the motherfucker. If I look at him, if I pull up a picture of him, the motherfucker look like some kind of sexual neurotic by the face. But that's a whole other subject. You know what I mean? He looks off. He looks off to me, but he's a competent offensive coordinator who probably caught a bad one. He probably caught a stray, man. I'm pretty sure about it. But they all know what they're doing. But you have to have a specific guy that can really, really galvanize a team and that can also call a game and really, really manage some shit. I just believe this kid right here, I think he can, if given the opportunity, man, I think he can be really good, man.
I think so too. And I don't want to take anything away from the guy at all. I don't know him from a hair and, you know, can't fan. You know what I'm saying? I don't know him. I'm not trying to.
You knew John Harbaugh was a special teams coach, right? Before he got the job with the Ravens, right?
Mm-hmm.
This goes to show you that the head coach doesn't have to be a whole lot of X's and O's. He's just got to find the right people and then bring it all together. He just got to cook it and make it all work together. You know what I mean? So that's the bottom line to it. Doesn't matter who the coach is. If he doesn't,
it matters, dog. It so matters here. This city, this team. It matters more than anything else. Nobody knows what the F they're doing. I mean, so matter of fact here. And again, not to take this has nothing to do with Thomas Brown at all. You know, he may be a fantastic coach. He may be a fantastic OC. Hell, we may beat the Packers, both games. I don't know what happens from here. All bets are off. But I think for all intents and purposes, you should, the Bears brass should probably look at a guy who has some level of experience doing what they're trying to do. What they're trying to do is develop a quarterback. Check. Question 1 on the interview. Have you ever effing developed a quarterback? No. Next guy.
They had that guy on the list.
Who?
Caldwell, who is one of his mentors. Thomas Brown's his mentors. They had the guy on the list. You can get aged out in situations too, man. You know, people will look at your age, like nothing wrong with your mind, but they can look at your age and, you know, it's ageism out there. You know that, man. There's nobody's ignorant to that. You know what I mean? But Jim Caldwell I just heard him in the presser today, and I ran that down when I was checking him out before he got here, that Jim Caldwell was one of his strongest influences, man. And he thinks the world of that motherfucker, man. And so, like, I know right now that he's probably leaning on Jim Caldwell right now. What do you think is the best thing to do with him? And he probably told him, and I'm getting ready to get into this conversation, is I think the best strategy to beat the Packers or to compete with these dudes is to really, really dumb the system down. And I was listening to him talk today in his presser, and to me, it sounded like they're going to put Caleb under center, and they're going to really simplify this game plan and give him one read throws. Move him out, one read throws and run the ball and play ball control. That's the only way you're going to try to keep them out of the end zone. It's the only way you're going to beat them.
Well, it seems as though that the approach that Shane Waldron, Flus approved, approach that they've taken with Caleb Williams is to give him the entire playbook and have him digest it and to figure it out. Whereas, that's a lot of information to, you know, process and figure out. Whereas Brown seems to take the approach of he's going to be more simplistic with the expectations, with the play calling, with the game planning. And so that it's like, we're going to make it easier for our rookie quarterback to process and therefore produce, as opposed to, well, he's a smart kid, so we can put a lot on his plate and he'll be able to figure it out. And it's like, well, yeah, maybe, but in the short term, maybe not. So let's slow it down a little bit and bring him along as he comes along. You know, if he gets to the point where it's like, look, coach, I know how to do this shit that we're doing, you know, give me some more. Okay, cool. But I think right now, Caleb Williams is like, can't turn the ball over. Have to find this guy. Have to find this guy. Have to remember this. Have to do that. And so he's thinking more than he's playing, which you expect from a rookie. But the difference that we've seen in Williams from the first few games to the last few games, where teams' defenses were game planning for him to take away the things that this offense was liking to doing and what he likes to do to make him uncomfortable. Now, you know, they're scheming for him, and how will Caleb Williams respond from that? But it can't be all on him because he's, you know, granted the quote unquote generational quarterback prospect, but he's still a fucking rookie. So the coaches have to be able to coach him into his development and to be all that he can be. Right now, it looks like he's trying to prove that he's the guy, and no matter what anybody says or does, he's gonna win the game. But he's not doing it, and it's kind of fucking with him. It just looks like, because he doesn't understand why. And it's like, well, yeah, your team is in discombobulation because, you know, of shit from the top all the way down to the protection. So, you know, we want to develop this fucking quarterback because we keep getting these quarterbacks that we don't develop. And now if Thomas Brown isn't the guy going forward offensively, so now we've had our rookie quarterback go through an offensive coordinator and then now possibly an interim offensive coordinator, you know, before we get his second offensive coordinator, or third technically, you know, and it's like in the second season. And so it's like, I hope Brown is the guy going forward. And I also don't agree with that the head coach has to be an offensive guy. Let the head coach be the head coach. Let the offensive coordinator be the offensive guy to develop the offensive.
Leave him the fuck alone. Let him do his job.
Let the offensive coordinator coordinate the offense. Let the head coach. Let the defense coordinate. Separation of church and state.
So let me ask both of you a question. If this guy succeeds, and what was it? So where's this? If Thomas Brown, FFG stuff, if Thomas Brown's offense scores 25 plus points a game and the Bears win 10 games, he will probably be given a job opportunity. I'm all for that. I'm just wondering, does that mean Matt Eberflus retains his position as head coach? of the Chicago Bears?
Fuck no.
You think there's some world where Thomas Brown is successful and they fire Matt Eberflus?
Well, let me ask you this, Nomad, before you answer his question, because it kind of piggybacks that. Shane Waldron was hired to be the OC. Did Shane Waldron hire Thomas Brown, or did Flus hire Thomas Brown?
You see, that was what we were talking about the other night, man. And to answer both of those questions, I think it's all in what you think happened in the offseason. Do you think did I make any kind of sense, or did I sound crazy to y'all when I said that I think there was a caveat to them keeping Flus? They were going to buffer him with some experienced coaches that have some, some leadership ability. And, if the shit didn't work out, we have something to fall back on as an organization. We got leaders in the building that can really, take over this team if Flus doesn't work out. I think that's exactly why these guys were in place. I'm talking about him in particular, Thomas Brown and Eric Washington. That's what I believe they were brought here for, and I think that's what made Flus insecure. And shout out to Remy, who shouted me out. She watched the show on replay and seen the show, and she was thinking the exact same thing, is that this coach is insecure about the moves that they made to buffer the situation. They put those guys in place. The organization did. I don't think these are at all Flus's hires, man. Nobody's going to hire people that they think can take their fucking job. I think normal people wouldn't. But to me, I think you surround yourself by overqualified people the best you can, people that can do just as good a job as you or better if you're secure enough as a man. I don't think he's secure enough as a man, which is why I think he's dibbling and dabbling in both of these fucking offensive coordinator playbook. And everything that y'all are saying, what Kedz just asked me and what Tripp just said, it all fits into what I just responded to. It's all Flus being insecure about his spot because that's what they did in the offseason to be able to keep him. That's what I think happened.
Okay, your answer is a fair one. Now, it's the worst possible answer because I'm going to tell you why. Because then you went in with your plan, with plan B as your plan A.
So they did not want to let him go.
Planned to fail, like straight up and down. If you really think about it,
let me finish this. Maybe they did really, really, really like his leadership and the structure that he put in place, and they didn't want to disrupt that, and they wanted to keep Flus and let's see if we can work this out. But in case it doesn't, that's what I'm getting.
I know, but so here's a great way to disrupt it. Let's bring in some new guys, fresh new guys who could potentially take his job. That'll work.
That's what you think about it, man.
That'll definitely make sure that there's cohesion here. We'll get rid of the guys who didn't work. We'll keep him, and we'll bring in a bunch of guys who potentially can do his job for him. This is a brilliant plan.
But then also that planning kind of goes along with the mentality at Hallis Hall. It's like, all right, I want to hire an offensive coordinator. If I'm applying for the offensive coordinator position, I have a team of coaches I have in mind to be my passing coordinator, my run game coordinator, my offensive line coach, my tight ends coach, my wide receivers coach, my running back coach, my quality assistant, and all that bullshit. And then I go to the organization and be like, yeah, we want to hire you as OC, but we got a offensive line coach that you're going to be working with. We got this coach we're bringing in that you're going to be working with. And a lot of coaches or coordinators are be like, yeah, fuck you. I ain't going to take this job. I'm out. And they'll just wait to find a job where they can be the coordinator as opposed to being micromanaged by Hallis Hall.
And
I'm just saying,
we all know, Kedz too. And it'd be a shame not to mention this because it's true. And and I don't mean to make anybody uncomfortable. I'm mentioning it because it's real in this world. It's like black coaches have had a hard time in this league getting traction and getting opportunities. The really good opportunities. They're playing catch up, man, and sometimes they have to pick up scraps.
We're talking about race when Flus is the head coach, though.
No. Let me finish. Let me finish.
Thomas.
Opportunity wise. we just
take what you can get.
Yeah, you take what you can get. And you know what? Sometimes you find yourself in those situations. Thomas Brown just came out of that. You know, I mean, so it's, you know, it's not fair, but it's the reality of the situation. You got people that own these teams that it takes a certain kind of person to make them comfortable with somebody that's not really like them. And that's just normal human behavior. You know, you look around you and you probably will find that your tribe is, I'm talking about the people that you hang around with, they probably look a lot like you for the most part. Unless you're somebody like me that I get around with everybody, you know what I mean? It's just the way I am, but not everybody is there, you know what I mean? And hopefully, you know, in this lifetime of mine, we can see people start moving across there, but it's a lot of uncomfortability when it comes to stuff like this, and you know, different personality types. When we were just talking about that earlier in the show, what Trish was saying, you know, the McCaskies tend to favor guys that they're comfortable with, and that's what they go with. And you know, it'd be foolish not to address that and see that as it actually is.
I ain't gonna touch it. You know what I mean? I'm not saying it doesn't exist. Clearly does, but I'm just not sure how it pertains to, you know, the immediate situation being. None of these guys are going to be here. If they were brought in as Plan B to Plan A being Flus failing, Ryan Poles planned to fail, and that's what irks me. He should have moved the head coach when he had the opportunity to do it in the first place. Flush out the squad, bring in guys all together that want to work together and are driven to win. Instead, he retained a guy who's now got to watch over his back and worry about Eric. You know what? I can't even let go of this call sheet for Eric, because like the minute Eric does some crazy, you know, some crazy blitzing, and it doesn't look like my vanilla stuff, what am I going to do? I'm going to have to figure out how to call timeouts. Like that's what I'm going to have to do. I don't have to call timeouts. I don't even know what this yellow thing in my back pocket is for. You know what I'm saying? So it puts him on Front Street, and they put him on Front Street in a bit of a different way. I was excited that all these guys were coming in because I felt that they were going to help build this thing up. It's not what's happened. This thing's flopped, and now everybody has to cover their ass.
Well, it looks like what the make. I don't see. I can't differentiate between Poles and McCaskies because we don't know the inner workings and what's actually happening. But what it looks like from the outside is that their continuity of culture means finding specific coaches in specific roles and keeping those coaches in those roles until they fill out all of the coaches. So it's like, yeah, we like this guy, so we're going to keep Chris Morgan at, you know, offensive line coach. We like this guy, Thomas Brown, as offensive coordinator, so we'll keep him there. We like that guy, Washington, the defense coordinator. We'll keep him there. We don't like Flus, so we'll get a new one there. But they're never letting the coordinators and the coaches hire their own staff. They're building a bare staff and just replacing different pieces. And I don't see that working.
No,
I've never seen that work anywhere.
That's what I'm saying. No head coach worth his salt is going to come in there in some sort of hodgepodge puzzle picture situation. Like they're going to, like, I guarantee you, if a Bruce Arians or a Harbaugh or
Andy Reid,
any of these guys who know what they're doing are coming in to interview with the Bears, they're going to go cool. You know, end of the day, I've got a laundry list of guys that I've already got lined up for these positions. I got guys ready to go. I talked to them already. Hear their names. You've heard of these guys. That's who I want for, you know what I mean? That's what I want for these roles. We're going to go get these guys. Oh, you're telling me you've got all these positions filled for me already? Well, I don't know any of these guys. How am I supposed to be expected to work with these guys? How are they supposed to be expected to work for me?
Well, I think this, man. I think if there is a world where, and I'm gonna talk about specifics again, when I say that if he can simplify this thing and get Caleb calmed down, make the game easy for him, give him easy throws, lean into this running game. Get more involvement from both of those running backs, not just DeAndre. So get some Travis Homer in there if you got to. Get you some of that Roshan Johnson going on, and really make your presence known on the ground. That's going to help Caleb tremendously. If he can turn around and hand this ball off and they're executing on the ground and they can control this, and you can start seeing a semblance of what you think Caleb can be, a calm Caleb in the pocket, and given simplified instructions, and helps them, compete with this team that's going to be all over them. Because if they do anything other than, really get Caleb under center and kind of force that play action game and lean on that ground game, he's going to be whatever is going wrong with him and you thought was bad last week. It's going to be, I don't know that we can redeem him if they can get after him the way I seen that Green Bay Packers team get after quarterbacks on the all-22. They will fucking obliterate him. And I'm telling you, they're going to have to. There's no other way to get around it. You're going to have to really simplify this game. And so when I'm talking about getting the ball out of your hand, he's got to, if he does get back there and shotgun and RPO, that ball's got to be going on the first read, period. And
there's just and I totally agree with what you're saying, that the game plan has to be conducive to putting the offense and the rookie quarterback in a position to succeed. But then some of that falls on the rookie quarterback. He's going to have to make those quote unquote NFL open throws, where it's like, yeah, the guy's covered, but you put the ball in a place where only he can catch it. And, there's been those that have been left on the field because he didn't throw the ball. And some of which I'm sure is the frustration from the wide receivers and everybody. So if he can just slow the game down for Caleb, put him in situations that are conducive for his talent, we should be fine. If he is, the number one pick that we all hope he is, that Ryan Poles basically tied his wagon to with no other looking at anybody else, supposedly. So, he has to be the guy. We don't have to, or should not have to, let me rephrase that. We should not have to dumb it down to the point that, we're trying to bring along a UDFA quarterback. This kid was a fucking number one pick. He has to bring some sort of quarterback talent and acumen to the position himself.
So I before you go, kids, let me mention this, because I gotta say this now. Here's what I think the formula is gonna have to be in order for us to see some kind of success Sunday. It's gonna be a small list of things. Number one, they're gonna have to pretty much live in 12 and 13 personnel. They're gonna have to pretty much live in it. Caleb's gonna have to be under center. Number two, heavily on the running game. Pull that thing out and do some play action, boot action, move the pocket, because that's what Caleb likes to do. That's number four. The fifth, probably most important thing, is whatever call he's getting from the sidelines, that better be the call you go to the line of scrimmage and call, unless he sees something absolutely. It can't be all this communication at the line of scrimmage and not taking advantage of some tempo, because they've been in tempo situations and not being able to take advantage of it. Why? Yeah. Because he's doing so much moving and so much calls at the line of scrimmage, they're able to adjust and detect what these guys are doing. And so you had him reeling when you made a couple of completions, and you got to the line again and you did fucking 15 checks, and they figured out what you're doing, and now they're sitting on your shit. And so I see that over and over on the tape. That's got to stop in order for him to be successful. Get the call in. If you see something that you got to take, you see DJ one-on-one exclusive, and there's a one-on-one, for a fact that's a one-on-one, and ain't no safety going to roll over the top, and you take that. But other than that, take the fucking call from the huddle, get up to the line of scrimmage and run it.
Well, that's kind of the frustrating thing, because I liked the aspect of not the hurry up or the sugar huddle, but getting back to the line so the defense now cannot substitute. But the way they ran it was to the point that defenses knew it was coming, and they're gonna, like Nomad was saying, make the checks and not use any motion or not do this or not do that, and then snap the ball with 2 seconds, or 1 second left on the play clock when they got the play off at all on time. So they became predictable when trying to be unpredictable. And it's like, as a novice, as a fan, just watching, it's like, all right, where you got the defense on the field ready to confuse them, but you're giving them time to settle in and figure out what's going on. So you're not taking advantage of the hurry up, so to speak. And so if Waldron was the architect of that, which I guess he was, and then you look back at his history in Seattle, it's like, yeah, he sucks as an offensive play caller. So Thomas Brown, what kind of offensive line you're working with, what kind of quarterback you're working with, the weapons. If he can figure it out and put up points against Green Bay or win out for the rest of the season, it's like, yeah, okay, cool. He's the offensive coordinator we've been needing. But then if we do win out, it's like, well, why do we have to get rid of Flus? He finally has an offensive coordinator that's winning. And then it's like, fuck. We missed our opportunity again to get rid of this fucking guy. He's so much of a dude that his wife and daughter had to give him a makeover to make him look cool.
Kedz has been saying that. He said that probably twice since we started this show, and I've been leapfrogging that shit, just trying to avoid speaking to it, man, because I really don't see a world where that motherfucker comes back unless they fucking start running the team.
But this is where we're at. I don't know how you can have faith in the Thomas Brown situation without the understanding that Flus comes back if he's successful.
I want to think about him exclusively, not just in this goddamn group that you want to put him in. I'm not.
You want to live in an echo chamber.
Your fucking mind be dancing on you, man. I'm just concentrating on this guy, man. You want to go to?
You're living it. Okay, so just. Thomas Brown is awesome. 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 So there's the echo chamber. We bounced that around. I'm just saying, if he's successful, Flus stays, and we're fucked. So I like. Here's the thing. I kind of hope this guy does some kind of shows out, because the flip side is he will still have an opportunity to find success in the NFL, and I believe that he will. I just kind of hope once more that, like, we've seen just about enough of this of the bearded gentleman. Like, we've seen enough. We've seen enough. I'm still waiting. I'm waiting for that one time where he does that thing that helps us win a football game.
And then look at the comment.
Question, man. Before you start talking, you got a question.
It's Crimson. You did. Trips, why do you think it takes so long to get the play in and adjust it? Well, I would be curious for those that have watched all 22. When the offense is on the field and Waldron was calling in the play or contemplating the play, is Flus on the headset at all? In his ear, like, don't run that. Or no, check that. I don't like that call, kind of thing.
To that. I'm tired of speaking on that, man. It's like nobody pay me no attention when I mention it, man. It's like people think I'm just tripping or something, man. But I keep seeing that so many times. Trips do this like number one, there he's on the sideline trying to call a game and adjust to whatever the defense is doing to him. That doesn't give you the proper perspective to really know what they're trying to do to you. And seeing the actual substitutions that they're making and all that you can see from above. That's why they made press boxes for coaches, so that you can fucking see exactly what's going on, how they're adjusting to what you're trying to do to them. But he's got him on the sidelines. You can only, on the sidelines from that perspective, I don't know if anybody can really call a good game that way. I don't think you can. I think you need to be able to see from over the top. Or maybe that's just me and my brain. But no, that might be what you're talking about, kids and Trips. I mean, Trips. The fact that there's more than one cook in the kitchen calling that shit might have everything to do with it. Number one. Number two, and watching Shane Waldron on the sideline doesn't give me. It just looked to me like somebody that was reading the next playoff instead of reading the game and knowing what's happening to this quarterback.
And then you got, I'm sorry to cut you off, Kez, but just to finish the wrap up on my part of this, then you have Williams, as a rookie coming to the line and trying to call those plays, but just the communication and the coordination of the coaching staff, whether it be coach to coach, booth to coach, like, oh yeah, we got to communicate better to throw the red flag there, a challenge there, a call timeout there, or offensive coordinator to coach. Flus has his dick in every one of those pies, and he's fucking them all up. And it's just because he just seems very insecure, very passive aggressive, little man. And no player and no respecting warrior athlete is going to follow that to the point where I'm going to, run through a wall for this fucking guy. It's like, no, I'll do my job, but no running through walls it will be. And so I think all of it comes back to Flus as to why shit ain't working right. But that's just me.
All right. I'm not sure about that.
I did monetize this one, so be easy a little bit, man.
It might. For the first, might have to do with Flus, right? But it might also just be, I don't trust anything that this guy's calling after a while, right? Like you get to the line of scrimmage, you're like, what the hell did he just tell me that ain't gonna work here? We need to do something, you know what I mean? We need to do something else. Because this guy's clearly stupid. Let
me paint a picture for you. So you're on the sidelines, you got 53 big, huge ass dudes. You standing there with a play sheet in your hand and a damn Microsoft Surface. And you got big ass fucking dudes in front of you. You're calling plays off. You got this stuff scripted. You know what you want to call, when you want to call it. You just called the screen pass to DJ and they just blew that shit up. Number one. Soon as that play was over, these motherfuckers migrated another row of players in there. They just subbed out a couple, 2-3 guys. You got big dudes in front of you that's walking around all up and down the sideline, and you need to know exactly what's going on the other side of the field, don't you? You need to know who the fuck they just subbed in. What's that personnel package? Supposedly, people are in the headset above him, talking to him. Hey man, they just brought in a new sub package. Now you got all that shit going on in your head, and you're looking for the next play to get into Caleb. Now, you can't see across the field and see what kind of sub package. You're dependent on what they're telling you from upstairs. Instead of you being your ass upstairs and seeing that shit, and you don't need that third party. So you got too much going on in your fucking head. You can't see, and you're looking for the next play. All of a sudden, your quarterback comes off the field. He's frustrated. The receiver's frustrated, and shit ain't right because you have no feel for the fucking game. Why? It's because you can't get a feel from the fucking game sitting on the sidelines with a million big-ass dudes around you and you can't see.
Like I hear what you're saying. There's definitely OCs out there who do it on both the sideline and upstairs. It's really a question of preference at the end of the day. I can't really sit here and say one's better than the other. Or, I remember from a defensive perspective, Vic Fangio liked to be up top and he liked to have a good view of the entire situation. I think it's a smart move too. I think definitely there should be guys there at that level who are informing the head coaches and or OCs, and DCs in some capacity. I don't know how that works, but end of the day, I don't think Caleb at the line was in, to get back to Tripp's sort of original question, I don't think at the line Caleb was comfortable with whatever this man was sending in, because for the most part, it was putting him in dire straits. And it just got to the point, like these last two games, there was an excessive amount of changeup at the line. What that was about, I don't know if that was really on Caleb, if they've given him autonomy to do all that. I have a strange feeling they've given him that autonomy, and I have a strange feeling that it kind of came back to bite everybody in the ass. But it is what it is.
Surprise, kid. I'll tell you right now from the All-22, and I say this full, just broad-chested right now, 80% of Caleb's ailments thus far is Caleb. Now, I left that 20 out there because part of it was some bad scheming, some bad schematics, some bad play calls at different times. But most of that shit is on him not being able to deliver, and he struggles when he sees tight quarters. When people are on him, on those receivers from playing bump, and he doesn't see the wide open shit he's seen in college, and he's not able to run around and get out of the pocket and do the circus type plays, he's not comfortable. He's just not. He hasn't gotten over that hurdle. And thus far, I don't give a shit how good you scheme something up. Unless you take that out of the equation and simplify the offense, he's going to keep running into that problem until he reaches a point where he's comfortable with playing as a pocket quarterback and getting the ball out in 2.5, 3.0 seconds. 3.5 at the tops.
I just want to speak to some of the stuff I said yesterday. All right. Yesterday I suggested that we got to bench him and let him sit, and I think that was the wrong thing for me to say, and I want to retract that myself personally. I think that we as a fan base, the Bears as a football team, Ryan Poles as a GM, I think everybody needs to just get behind this kid one more time and support him in full. It's going to be a long ride. I know I definitely said there would be bumps like this. Like I said it. We should all, I'm sure the rest of you came to that realization. Here we are in those bumps, and things are going a little bit sideways. I just want to sort of reinvigorate the fan base and say, look, this was to be expected with a rookie quarterback, but I think what we really figured out, it's just that this coaching staff is in no capacity ready to develop a quarterback. They need to be flushed out. That's the bottom line here. We need new leadership to help this kid grow the way that he needs to grow. And I don't feel that these guys are the right guys for the job.
So you don't want to, all I'm trying to do is tell you there's a formula that can help us be competitive come Sunday. Other than that, you might as well take your mind to the finish line, and we've already got the shit beat out of us.
No, we can. Again, we can win this game. We can win out, and that's awesome. But that leaves us with this head coach again.
Well,
and I just kind of need. I kind of need to. I need to understand really what they could possibly do to retrofit this team into a 10-win plus team over the course of the next few weeks. And I don't have any idea what that might even materialize as. There's a lot of holes here that need to be fixed, and I don't see any of them being repaired until the offseason. We're past the trade deadline. They can't bring in much talent. Any talent they can bring in is, like a Ricky Stromberg off of a free agent case scenario that they would have to bake and bring in and develop, which we're having a heck of a time doing. I don't know what to tell you. My level of faith is a little bit low here, mainly because I've seen them do this exact same thing 8 times previously and fail. I'm just telling you why I feel that way. And it's not because I'm down on Thomas Brown or it might not even be that I'm down on Matt Eberflus. I'm just saying that I think he's proven the fact that he's not ready for the job, for the role of developing a rookie quarterback by way of him being the head coach of this football team. And I think that has to change.
Well, I think nobody amongst the fan base has any kind of faith in Matt Eberflus. What we do have is a list of games on the schedule that we got to play.
Yes, we do.
Fans, tough-ass games.
As fans, nobody wants to feel like we walking into the Grim Reaper's world every time we go line up. You know what I mean? I'm not ready to take it to there.
But the thing is, how do you justify? This team is 4-5, so that's 9 games into the season, almost halfway into the season. And we just fired our offensive coordinator, who we just hired, to work with and develop our rookie quarterback, who we took at number 1, and not the Hall to, fill the team with players. So it's none of it is like William. It's not all on him. It's on Poles, it's on Flus, it's on the McCaskies. But as a fan base,
we got a rookie quarterback problem that hasn't developed the way he needs to, and I don't want to put that shit on.
Well, yeah, but we've seen it before. I mean, how many quarterbacks have we seen as rookies that we didn't develop? So it's like I can't get excited or happy about the possibilities when all I've seen from this organization is shit. So, there's not much to take me out of the mind frame of, well, it's not going to be shit now.
It's going to be different this time, right? So let me it's different stink, right? But the same stink. One of the little things that I've been thinking about here is, again, who does Caleb Williams have to say, hey, look, like I'm in a situation when I get up to the line, and I'm not sure what I'm seeing here. Like who does he confide in? Who does he have?
Supposed to be his fucking quarterback coach, man.
No, it should be a veteran quarterback who sits beside him and says, hey, look, I've been through that. I'm Joe Flacco.
Quarterback coach is a veteran quarterback.
Okay.
He is.
He's a veteran quarterback coach in the CFL. Like he's a veteran quarterback in the CFL.
Don't do him like that, though. That dude.
I'm telling the truth. I'm not making up stories. He's a CFL quarterback.
And I give him more credit than that. I think I'm telling you, I think the problem
in the NFL,
the problem that we have on this team that nobody wants to really recognize, and I'm not saying it's the only problem, but the majority of the problem is between the rookie quarterback's ears. Telling you, simple as that. He's in a situation that's uncomfortable to him, and he doesn't know how to get out of it.
And that's what I'm trying to say to you is like, where does he go to get that type of help and support? There should be somebody who's done it beside him who can give him
Tom Brady if he wants to. He's got it in his phone. Tom Brady can't go out there and execute for you. You got to see it. You got to have a timer in your head. You got to get some things through your head.
What you're saying isn't wrong. Like 100%, all of those things need to be processed effectively and managed by Caleb Williams, and it's going to take him time to get to that level. What I'm really saying here is that Ryan Poles had the opportunity to bring in a veteran at some point to help this kid along, and he did not do so.
Can you imagine why they didn't, kids? I can give you one little thought. Maybe if you bring a qualified veteran into the camp and
it'll hurt his ego?
No. Not only that, if he starts to fuck up, everybody in the goddamn stadium will be calling for the backup, wouldn't they?
Bro, they're calling for Tyson Bagent right now.
Imagine if he had who's the dude with the what is his name? I'm thinking of his name right now. I just can't.
Who, Andy Dalton?
Just imagine if Joe Flacco was here.
Sure.
Would they the crowd would be relentless unless they got Joe Flacco. The minute Caleb started fucking up consistently. It's actually it's a
so this whole like this is like what you're explaining to me makes perfect sense. Can't sit here and say that it doesn't. What I am gonna say is like scared money don't make money, bro.
Well,
if that's how we're going to business, hold on. If that's how we're going to business by retaining the coach, scared money don't make money. We're going to bring in the two guys who might take his job. Scared money. That's how we're going to manage the quarterback. Oh, we're scared. He might feel a way about having a guy here who knows what they have to do in the NFL and he can consult with. But he might have feelings about it. He might be scared about it. So
part of the reason why I use the word coddle.
If that's what you meant by coddled, then
part of the reason.
Maybe you're bang on, because like I'm saying, there's certain little things here that could have been done to help the kid out that have been skirted, and now we're looking at how to develop him, and he's having struggles, and there should be a better support system available for him, and there just isn't. There doesn't exist. The only support system that I can think of, again, is Kerry Joseph, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. It's also Tyson Bagent, and I'm not saying there's anything wrong with that. But what I am saying is neither one of them have ever been NFL quarterbacks for more than 5 games.
So you think I would be gambling just a little bit if I said you're slightly worried about Sunday?
Worried? I'm not. Like, let's rephrase that. I'm not worried about Sunday at all. I have no worries here. I know exactly what's going to happen. I'm going to put a bunch of money on it too.
Oh, damn. You shouldn't have said that out loud. Damn, you shouldn't have said that out loud.
I know exactly what's going to happen. This is probably the easiest money to be made, except for last week. Last week was even easier money. Hope y'all put money down. I was stupid. I went out and I said the opposite situation, knowing the whole time what the situation was. Went out on record. I just should have shut my mouth last week.
That's a beautiful thing about the NFL, kids. You got to go play the game. That's a beautiful thing about football. Is everybody align what they think is going to happen, point by point and position by position, and give themselves some kind of leverage here or there, left, right, center. I think this is the way this is going to play out. It's all, it's in your mind, whatever it is, because at the end of the day, these motherfuckers got to go line up and play.
That's it.
Go ahead.
I only have one worry really, and it is whether Matt Eberflus is retained at the end of this season as the head coach of the Chicago Bears. The season for me personally, I'm going to say it's a bit of a write-off. Don't see all that much awesomeness coming from it, but I'm going to watch it. I'm going to call it. I'm going to enjoy what I can enjoy in small form factor. But that's my Super Bowl right now, bro. My Super Bowl is the hope that there's a head coaching change next season. That's it.
Well, here's an article from Sports Mockery that just came out. No final decision has been made. Once the season ends, George McCaskey and Kevin Warren must confer to determine what to do. Eberflus is probably gone. First question is whether GM Ryan Poles should join him. From there, a search must be conducted for a replacement. Dan Graziano of ESPN revealed some interesting details from his sources around the league. There is a widespread belief that Chicago will focus primarily on a quarterback specialist. Yeah, I think there's a feeling around the league the Bears will probably be looking for a new coach in the offseason and that their target will be quarterback-centric guys. That might not be fair to the current head coach, Matt Eberflus, but his inability to select a successful offensive coordinator could be what does him in. Looking at the rest of the division, Bears ownership sees young star coaches in Minnesota and Green Bay and the ultimate culture-building coach in Detroit. So it's probably going to want to make a dynamic and exciting hire, especially one who maximizes their investment in Williams.
What's your takeaway from that? You the one read the trip, so you deserve the first crack at that.
Well, it seems as though, obviously the fan base doesn't have any confidence in Flus, but the question is, does Poles or McCaskey or Warren, whoever the fuck is making the calls out of that trio or triumvirate? So, it looks like it's obvious that Flus has no clue on the offensive side of the ball because he's a defensive coach. So, the popular media are looking for answers as to, well, what are they going to do to develop this rookie quarterback? And Flus is the scapegoat. Just how far up will it go? So this article is just basically saying, we don't know what the hell's going on in Hallis Hall with their coaches, with their offensive staff. They're probably going to need all new people. And it's like, you can't disagree with that. But then it comes back to if Thomas Brown, unlocks the potential that is Caleb Williams, and now they win out, it's like, well, hell, we won out. We don't need to change head coaches because he's figured it out. So you get that, 6 in one hand, half dozen the other going on. So I don't know.
That's scary to think about, but go ahead, kids. I know you thinking about what you want.
No, it sounds like my dog is building a house downstairs, so I'm gonna be right back. Just give me. I'll be right.
All right, look, this is what I think about that, and part of it has to do with the fact that see what I'm not worried about what everybody else is worried about. Us keeping Flus. I know we're not gonna keep Flus. I'm worried about is the bathwater getting thrown out and the baby too. And to me, a guy like this dude on the screen, Eric Washington, are the babies. It's like you got good dudes in the building. You got great dudes in the building that can really, if given the opportunity, answer your problems and solve your problems. It's about finding, this guy that Caleb needs to unlock him and get him in a consistent flow of what he needs to do for an offense. You can do that and have your headpiece, the centerpiece being the head coach, orchestrate that and get him the guys that he knows that he needs to help Caleb get along. It's going to turn into, I'm afraid, if it goes down the line of what you just got through reading, it's going to turn into Caleb's going to pick his coach. That's what it sounded like to me. And that's some scary shit.
Well, the thing that jumped out to me is sort of the polls assessment, because like I like Ryan Poles and I would like for him to stick around as much as I would like to see Matt Eberflus disappear. But as I said the other day, fingers are going to start to point at Ryan Poles, and it looks like they have, just given the article you just read. What I just lit up there a minute ago was a little bit more fuel for that fire. Like, why didn't you get a veteran in here to help the quarterback? Like, everything that any fan with any level of sense has suggested to make this landing as soft as possible for the quarterback has sort of been ignored. All he did is he went out and he got Keenan Allen, and I kind of want to bring that up here. I kind of feel like Keenan Allen is hurting this team more than he's helping. I don't know about you guys. I kind of want to put that out there and have a bit of a talk about just Keenan Allen and the fact that he's getting snaps over a Tyler Scott. I think the complaint about Tyler Scott was that he was dropping the ball all the time. I'm not seeing Keenan Allen catch a whole heck of a lot. So,
kids, I can't tell you how many times I look at the All-22 and see a frustrated Keenan Allen because the ball ain't been delivered. Now, Keenan Allen is not a flight risk to go deep on you. He can get deep on you. Now, if he can get leverage on you and get a nice little push off, he'll get you. But the ball's got to be placed in the right spot, and he'll get you. Now, that given, let me tell you something. I've seen Keenan Allen open so many times, and the ball wasn't delivered. And you just got to think of it this way. Like if you're out here running these hella separation routes, just trying to get yourself a little leverage and a little, give them a little twist and a little bend, and then break the other way on them and get you a little bit of window. That's what Keenan Allen is. That's how Keenan Allen operates. It's not like you'll find Keenan Allen like college wide open ever. Unless some coverage was blown and he found a hole in the zone or some shit like that, you won't find that. Keenan Allen is a specialist, and ain't nothing about Keenan Allen changed because he became a Chicago Bear. I am telling you guys, and I hate to say it, and I don't want people to think I'm anti-Caleb, but any of that kind of shit. The All-22 tells me everything I need to know. It's the Bible. This dude is not hitting open guys. He won't even throw it at times.
With respect to Caleb, you're right. That doesn't absolve Keenan Allen from dropping the football a bunch of times.
Dude, if you're not in,
he's getting targeted, and that I can tell you, he gets targeted. He got targeted 9 times this week. I think he caught the ball twice. Same thing with the previous week. About the exact same breakdown. He gets targeted, and my problem is this: he's in the slot. You could use DJ there. You could use Rome there. He just ain't working there. he can't go deep, so you can't put him out wide.
Kids, you might be able to receive.
I think he's eating DJ's targets, and he's kind of eating Rome's targets, but he ain't hitting home when he gets like with the volume he's getting.
You might be able to receive it better if I explain it to you like this. All right, kids, you and I'm the quarterback, you're the receiver. You went out there and you run 18 really strong routes, right? 18 really strong routes, and turn to see the ball not come to you. Turn, see the ball not come to you. 18 straight times. And on the 19th time, now you're deep into the game and you haven't seen the targets that you're looking for. Now all of a sudden the ball gets there. Could you imagine a world where you'd be slightly out of rhythm?
I kind of knew exactly where you were going to go with that, and that's like what we were saying about Darnell Mooney last season, right?
Yes.
The reality is I understand that. I'm just wondering, like, why not try Tyler Scott in that position too? He doesn't have to run every route as far as Keenan Allen is concerned. He doesn't have to always be on the field. You can pull him out. You can throw Tyler out there. Why not? Why not change it up a little bit, get some depth, get some speed, change the visage of what the offense is right now? Because, again, as our guy's saying here, nothing is working. I can't put it all on Caleb. If they're going to change things up, I expect Thomas Brown to change things up. Change it.
I'm telling you, and I hope that you got enough trust in me as a football mind to tell you something that I'm telling you, dude. There's a large degree of it is Caleb.
I believe so. I believe that's the case, but I also believe there's some politics by way of personnel happening here. Not sure if Keenan Allen is the guy today that that Chargers fans were familiar with.
As they say, Father Time is undefeated. Keenan has a history of getting dinged up a little bit. And I get that, he's the crafty veteran who's supposed to be the soft landing for the rookie quarterback. But at his age and at his contract, he is not a future, part of this team going
this forward. Organization.
So, he has his drops, whether it be that his mind isn't in it on that 19th rep when he's open or whatever. But that does nothing for the development of a Tyler Scott, who's like, well, okay, he has some drops, but he's never going to learn how to catch the ball if he never plays. If he gets on the field and keeps dropping them, all right, now you got a reason to, it's like in the offseason, it's like, yeah, you can't catch, kid. But you can't do that if he's never playing. And if you're always giving the reps to the crafty vet who hasn't been here much of the season and won't probably be here next season, it's like you're hurting the team by not developing or helping develop one of your picks to know what he is or going forward. We look at the Shane Waldron use chart of, the different players and how he could figure out how to get the ball around. Is Keenan Allen taking too many of those reps? At this point of the season where it's like, yeah, we ain't making the playoffs. We damn sure ain't making the Super Bowl. So we got to kind of look forward. And looking forward, it's like, well, we need to get Tyler Scott in there to see what he is, to see if he's learned anything, to let him help develop some of these reps. And he can stretch the field unlike Keenan can. But granted, you need the offensive line to have time to, get those routes in. So, there's a lot of things going on. But, going forward, it seems as though Keenan Allen is more of a detriment right now to the development of the team as he is to opposed to helping get this team to the playoffs.
He also doesn't have a contract with us, like, moving forward. So what's his incentive to really block for a guy like DJ Moore on a screen, right? Like, I'm not sure if he has that incentive. Let me rephrase. He doesn't have any incentive other than winning now. I'm not sure if winning now is really in the cards guys. So my thoughts is keeping Keenan Allen in this, like as active as he is in this offense, he's only taking targets away from a potential relationship with the guy that they signed long-term, being DJ Moore, and the guy that they just drafted, or the kid who's sitting on the bench who they drafted last year.
Or even what's his name, number 11, Carter, who comes in for those fourth wide receiver reps, as opposed to give Scott one or two of those damn reps. What happened to that tall ass Colin Johnson in the preseason? Why are these wide receivers just so? Well, we got these 3 or 4 guys. That's who we're rolling with.
Well, like you could move one of these guys into the slot, right? Like you could be a little bit crafty. If it ain't working with DJ, like, you know what I mean? Oh, let's move DJ over here so we can get him on a screen pass. Well, no, maybe you put him in the slot and you let him work the slot and you put Keenan out wide. Except Keenan can't really go deep, so having him out wide ain't the move. You probably want to have somebody else over there, right? Like, or even Rome. Like Rome could work the slot real well too and be the safety blanket.
All right.
You know.
I mean, there's other opportunities to develop and build, but we seem to be stuck in this. Well, we got to play the vets quagmire.
Yeah.
Listen, let me put this out here, and you got to remember this part of the ratio. You got to remember they're coaching desperate. The guy came into the season knowing. I'm pretty sure about this. Flus knew that, they needed results. They set this situation up for, we felt like we were a playoff team, burgeoning playoff team coming into the season. We put some pieces out there to let the world know that you're going to have to deal with us. And we were a surging team per Flus in the first several games, right? Then we find ourselves in a situation where we're starting to see some regression, and I think we've got a head coach that's a control freak. And I think when he's gone, I think we'll find out all the stuff that some of the perimeter shit we're talking about Flus. I think we're going to learn all that shit when he's gone. I think we got a control freak that's involved in too much shit. You know what I mean? Way too much shit. And the reason why you don't see Tyler Scott getting plays out there and, different ways he's treating some of these other guys that was on the team and they're still on the team, he's controlling it. He's out there like I listen to Flus enough and pay attention to some of the details of what he says enough and just know coach speak. And I know what he's talking about when he's telling us that, everything we need to see, we see in practice, right? And, I know several coaches that are like that. Like if let's just say, Trips, I'm the quarterback and we're doing 11 on 11 or 7 on 7. You're Tyler Scott. I'm throwing you the ball and you had a couple drops during the practice, right? Couple drops. Let's just say you grabbed 6 of them, but you dropped 2. That's enough for this coach to make you inactive. That's the kind of motherfucker he is. You know what I mean? This is what you're dealing with. Like he is showing some kind of inconsistency in practice and forcing, I ain't gonna say forcing, causing Flus to not consider him, even though the offensive coordinator, this is why I say he's dipping too much and involved in too much and he's a control freak. Even if the offensive coordinator said, you know what, I can use Tyler in this game plan, I think he fits here. No, he's just inconsistent in practice. He's dropping. That kind of shit really happens. I've actually seen that. I've walked through that in my experience in life. So I know it's real when I'm talking about this team.
Man, talking about real, this team right now is 4-5. Without, Mayonnaise Levis throwing that gift at the end of the game, this team would be 3-6. And maybe we're having a different conversation then about Flus not being here anymore. Just that one gift of a victory that you can't even give to him because the other team gave it to us. So I mean, he's micromanaging everything, every room. He's unable to do his job of head coach. He's in over his head there. He's a control freak. He's very passive aggressive. And now when he takes accountability, it only seems like lip service. Because when asked at the press conference today, all right, Thomas Brown is going to be your third offensive coordinator. You're the head coach. Why can't you get that right? And his response is, we're at where we're at, right? We got to get that right. And it's like, coach speak. And it's like, yeah, we got to get that right. Well, what if you don't?
The word to it was collaborative effort. We need a collaborative effort. That is opening the door for him to get involved in it. You might need to go back. Y'all might need to go back and watch that. It's the collaborative part of it. I saw that in the article as well. That was the key word that stuck out to me, collaborative. I need you to be open to me coming in that room and helping you with this offensive game plan, because I can't stand not being involved in what you guys are doing.
Right, and that goes back to the interviews for coaches and general managers. It's like, nah, I ain't putting up with that bullshit. Take my name off of this list. I'll go get a job someplace else, because I'm not gonna have you up in my kitchen messing up my recipes.
I'm telling y'all, Trips. I'm telling y'all, when this motherfucker is gone, when it flushes out, everything always flushes out in the end. This motherfucker was a control freak. He needed to be involved in every single thing that was going on. He didn't know how to let these people control their rooms and run their rooms and operate their offense, operate their defense. You can clearly see that with the defensive coordinator.
He's on record. It was one of the linebackers from the Colts that was there when Flus was there, and interview was like, yeah, Flus didn't give me all the information that I needed to play this game and be effective.
I remember that.
He did not put me in a position to win, because there was like the backup linebacker who was going to wear the green dot. So for all the
he was a third stringer red shirting that season. Like I heard what he said. The fact, like, I couldn't take it as like a thing. Here's what it boils down to for me. It means that evaluating personnel might be a little bit of a question for Flus, because if he had that kind of talent, he's now the first string guy running things over there. If he knew what kind of talent he would be, he might have spent a little bit extra time with them. But facts are, they're paying a guy, and that's a guy that he's likely going to spend time with. So I don't really blame Flus for that one. It's just a guy with a little bit of a vendetta, saying a little chip on his shoulder, saying, "Hey, this guy didn't do it."
If this guy's going to be the third string back,
if I'm sticking up for Flus, you know what I mean? Like, that's about the most.
But it's just another a glimpse into the history and to the mind frame that is Flus. If this guy is going to be your third string linebacker, why do you not want him to know everything? Because all it takes is 2 plays, and now he's your starter, because the guys in front of him went down. You're hurting your team by withholding information from this kid who plays that position. And with no legitimate reason as not to, it's just kind of like, you're third string. You don't need to worry about that.
If you listen to it even further, he goes, I don't know if it was before or after he made the comment you just said, Trip, but he was talking about, and I listened to details of the conversation. He was talking about, he didn't want to disrupt his boy, his boy at that time was Darius Leonard. That was his guy. You know what I mean? He didn't want to. And so you remember the part of the interview when he was talking about, he said some stuff in a team meeting that his boy didn't want to say, talking about his boy being Darius Leonard. He spoke up in the team meeting, or in the position meeting, and said some stuff, and Flus didn't like him from that point on. Like, he said some stuff Darius wanted to say. I probably put the jumping cables on him to say, and he said it, and Flus never did like him from there.
Right. It's like, how dare you question my authority?
Right. So, like those kind of dynamics, I don't think people realize. Like Khalil Herbert, from going from 1 on the depth chart to not even fucking getting touches. There's something else to that other than, the Bears.
And then I don't know if it's related, but Monty he couldn't wait to get out of here in free agency. He did not want to resign. And then I read someplace that during his time here, he was contemplating suicide.
There's something else to it. There's something else going on around here.
And it's like, what the hell's going on in Hallis Hall?
There's something else going on around here. I mean, everybody gave Chase Claypool all the shit in hell, but Chase Claypool probably knew what he was talking about then. When he spoke out.
Whoa. Let's not give
no, Kedz. When he spoke up and spoke his mind and everybody came against him because he spoke his mind, what's to say that what he was saying wasn't true?
Right. Don't crucify the messenger. Remember, Justin Fields last season came out and was like against the coaching in so many words. And then, he had to come back out again and rephrase it. So there's a trend that's what do kids call it? An aura around Flus that is very rain cloudiness.
Oh. I'm just saying, I'm the Canadian who gets to talk shit and not be held accountable for it. It isn't Chase Claypool. The fact is, Ryan should have known. Like, he should have known. Wide receiver, like if the Pittsburgh Steelers could make do with Antonio Brown, but they cut bait on Chase Claypool, you probably should have clued in, bro. It's almost that simple. It ain't just Antonio Brown. There's also Martavius Bryant. There's actually a laundry list of guys.
How many guys though have gotten a change of scenery and been productive?
Hold on now. Hold on.
All over the place.
Kedz has built half his career on dishing Chase Claypool. Just know that.
I built half my career on dissing Nate Davis. Chase Claypool was actually a kid that I wanted to do well because he's a Canadian. I actually touted Chase Claypool for a long time. Fact is, I actually wanted Chase Claypool to come to this team, but I'm not the GM, so I can question the GM move and his actual decision to do so. How much capital he spent on it. These are things that I can question out loud in public. But when I watched the game before he brought Chase Claypool in, I stopped and I was like, you know what would do well with Justin Fields? A big body wide receiver. Oh, snap! He's wide receiver the next week. And he's from Canada. I'm in. Sorry, didn't work out.
I'm gonna cut some clips out on your.
That's ass. Okay. You by all means. I mean, but every time you call me for clips, you're wrong. So go. All right, I'm gonna get to ass. You won't. You will not. You go find them clips because I was out there saying I want Chase Claypool. I'm in. That was me for sure.
But when it came time to him, you drug his ass. You drug him.
Bro, I'm gonna drag everybody's ass though. I'm that guy.
You saw that.
If you're gonna be out there not blocking, I'm watching a game. You're not blocking Keenan Allen. I'm gonna say this. I'm gonna tell you that you're not blocking.
Hey, y'all, by the way, I'm trying to let FFG, I gave him the email to try to get in. I'll get his email if I can. I'll give him the invite, jump in towards the end of the show, man. Hopefully we can get it. FFG wants to tell us what it's like in Minnesota through the Minnesotan's point of view. And
don't you know?
We can get him in here right quick, man, and get him. As a matter of fact, let me check the email right now, see if he got it through.
But I can't be mad at Poles for taking the flyer on Claypool, taking the flyer on a guy like Leatherwood, because like, as they say, sometimes a change of scenery, things click in, guys mature or they get healthy or what have you, so that's just part of the general manager game, trying to increase the talent level on your team. I can't fault them for that. And it's like, well, it was a second round pick. It was like, yeah, I mean, it was expensive, but you get those back. Picks are, very fluid nowadays. But if, it pays off, now you got a good player for that pick. So, I mean, you got to give something to get something. And so it's like, as long as what we're getting is more than what we're giving, I'm good. And thus far, in the short time that Poles has had to tear it down and build it all back up, he's given more than he's given up. It's just, it could all sway on this offensive line, which could put it in the other category real quick if somebody gets hurt back there. And I that's all I'm gonna say about that.
Y'all keep talking. I'm trying to get him his invite.
In the end, no GM bats 100, so you got to take it for call for what it's worth, and allow him to make his mistakes and capture his wins. Like Montez Sweat is clearly a win. There's wins, right? There have been some losses. My problem is much less to do with the general losses. It has much more to do with things like, sticking by the losses. You got to learn when to cut bait, bro. And that's kind of that's sort of my beef with Ryan. There's been some obvious situations that's like, you know what? Bench this guy, get this guy out of here. And he's got
Eventually he does, make the right decision, after, he dries his tears, and settles down his emotions and out of his feelings, then he'll cut a guy or trade a guy or whatever. But it takes him a while to get to that point because he's such a empathetic.
He's a big softy, man. He's got a big heart, and I think that's really what it comes down to. I think he really loves these guys that he brings into the fold, and I can respect that. Same token, though, that you have to understand that at the same time, you may be creating detriment, right, by hanging on to some, timing is everything, they say, right? Hanging on to some of these guys here, like Nate Davis is a clear, he's a clear answer to this. What it do, King Booker, getting out, cutting bait on Chase Claypool when he did. I applaud the guy for doing it at the time that he did. Didn't really waste much time to get away from that situation. Was it a loss of a second-round pick? It was, but I think it was worth the flyer. He got out of the situation. Nate, he stuck around too long. Matt Eberflus, we're still with him. So
was it too long or too short for Velas?
Definitely too long, because we could have got a fourth rounder for him in the offseason. So that was just unfortunately a little bit too long. He could have cut bait, got a fourth rounder, did something with that, maybe traded that fourth rounder to get some offensive line help right now while we're struggling. You know what I mean? I'll also say that maybe Velas, given the opportunity in that slot position, might have been a different thing too. But or as a running back, I don't know. But is what it is. At least
we can go through every move that he's made as GM, and it's like, Jatari Carter sure would look good on this offensive line right about now, but we don't know because he never had a chance to play. And when he did play, he looked good, but then it was like, obviously there's a personality thing going on there, whether it be with Morgan, offensive line coach, or whether it be with Flus, because there's definite favoritism, for lack of a better word, being shown to these players on this team, which is totally antithetical to the hits principle. And so it's like, that hits just becomes bullshit, because it's like you're not sticking to your own thing, especially with the responsibility part and the accountability part.
I think it's like hits plus like, are we paying you principle? Like if we're paying you, the rules don't really apply to you the same as other guys that are on a smaller contract. A little different.
You know what, gentlemen? Well, I think at the end of the day, when we get done with the judgment of Matt Eberflus, it's going to be clear and concise that this guy was in over his head, and he wasn't he might have been a decent judge of some of these draft picks and, in that part of the process in evaluating talent. He might have been better at that than anything else, but as a head coach and as a manager of the situation, he was pretty good. I thought that he put together a good game plan. I'm talking about, there's levels to building a team, and it starts with the leadership and it filters down to everybody else, getting everybody to be on one page. And, for a couple years here, man, other than that little issue that we had with one of the receivers that had a little spin out thing down in Florida, that thing, for an NFL team, just to give him his flowers a little bit, an NFL team to go that long without major incidents off the field is unique. You know what I mean? So he was putting together something that way, that part of the installation of the leadership and the structure of your team, and to have people singing to one tune. You know, he got that part right. But the head coaching and the management of the game time activities, the installation of offense, defense, all the stuff that I've seen go so wrong since he's been here underqualifies him to be a head coach. And I don't see him being a head coach ever again anywhere. He probably is better off coordinating the defense and let his energies surround that, because right now I don't think he's a terrible coach. I just think he's a terrible head coach.
Yeah, that's all I'm saying. I think he's an awesome guy. People love him. He likes bees. You know what I mean? Like he's got all sorts of things going for him. I'm just saying that the head coaching gig is a little bit, unfortunately, he's proven that he's not very good at it. He's proven he's great at being a DC, and I think he'd be a fantastic DC anywhere in the league. But yeah, that CEO role that he was stepping into, he just did the O part. He didn't do the C or the E.
See, I'm not saying he's a bad defensive coordinator, but until he has all the horses to compete, he's a bad defensive coordinator. If you have to have all the talent on the field on your side of the ball to be competitive, what is he doing as coaching other than relying on the athletes of the field? It's not like he's calling a lot of defenses that are confusing opposing quarterbacks or offensive coordinators. You know, he has to have Montez Sweat and Jalen Johnson and all these, defenders on the field to make a difference. And if he doesn't have that game-changing 3 technique, his defense doesn't run. So, I mean, he's an okay coach. He's a good human being, but he's shit as a head coach. So and I think he's kind of shit as a defensive coordinator.
Well, right now, man, listen, FFG Style, one of our valued members, one of the members, he's got, FFG, I can't see you, but I'm going to just pop you on the screen, and you just tell me whether or not you're ready or not. If you're not, I'll pull you down and then get you up when you're ready. But I'm going to just take a chance and put you into the show. You down and then get you up when you're ready. But I'm going to just take a chance and put you
what up, fellas?
Into the show. You down and then get you up when you're ready. But I'm going to just...
Like, you got to mute us. You got to mute us on your YouTube.
Yeah, YouTube.
Like, you gotta mute us. You gotta mute us on your YouTube. Like, you gotta mute us. You gotta mute us on.
There you go. Can you hear us?
Ooh. Yeah, I can hear you guys just fine.
Bam! You got us. Perfect.
First time, long time.
Oh, what's up, baby?
What's up, y'all?
What's popping, man? Good to have you, FFG.
Hey, I'm just chilling. I don't get to see y'all all the time. I'll be missing some of the shows, but I really dig what y'all say. And like most fans, I really got my opinions. So I'm going to try to keep them close to the vest because I ain't trying to explode on nobody today. I know everybody's been feeling about how the situation's been going.
You came to speak your mind. You fucking do it.
All right. I've been a fan since age 7. It even says that in my family tree. That's like the line. Bears fan since age 7. They don't say... I got an engineering degree. It don't say I've been 74 countries before I was 18, spoke 5 languages. It's a Bears fan since age 7. So this is near and dear to my heart. Every day, all day.
Yes, sir.
Yeah, man.
So for me, I really got to tell y'all that I'm tired of the same backwards ass thinking, excuse my language, that they do. Now, I agree with Nomad on a little bit of things where, yes, I think they put some people in place because Eberflus probably wasn't going to work out to be a safety net. I also think that when they started in the summer, that Waldron, even having Thomas Brown, there was no connection there for us to say, hey, look, we got this team. We got all these pieces. We need to find a way to make it easy for this young man to use them in a simple way and then branch out. You know what I mean? And I think they gave him everything right away and said, okay, what do you like? What do you want to run? Instead of, hey, we run this, you learn this. And then we are going to model it to the personnel and your ability. Because we understand you were spectacular in college. This ain't college. You can't have 15 seconds to run around where defensive linemen ain't going to catch you or people are going to be wide open down the field after 8 seconds. That just ain't going to happen. You need to have a plan of attack. And like Justin, unfortunately, they don't take check downs. They don't throw the ball away. They're always hoping for the home run plays. And I think that is the number one thing I should be stressed in the offense, because you got weapons. And if you notice, the weapons have gotten worse and worse and worse each week when they're not getting the ball or when they're open. So they're like not trying as much, regardless of the line play. Because it's been great and it's been crap. But he don't got to take all them sacks. And that's the same thing I've been seeing where they don't stress this kid. Hey, clock in your head. Let's go.
So would you agree when you hear me say, look, after looking at all 22, you know, you can basically, I can basically understand why some of the receivers are frustrated. I can definitely see myself going through those routes time after time after time and not receiving the reward that you're supposed to get when you're doing your stuff and getting yourself open, and him not throwing the ball. And it's not me trying to pile on Caleb. I know a lot of people are jumping on Caleb right now. I got Twitter and all that kind of stuff. I know what they say, and I'm not going to do that. And as long as he's here, I'm going to support him. But when the shoe fits, I'm going to put it on him. Right now, I got to put it on him, FFG. And right now, most of it is him. I ain't going to kid you. And it's mostly him being used to, you know, a certain way of playing football that's not conducive to what football looks like now. You know what I mean? If that makes any kind of sense. That's what I see on the all 22 all the time.
Well, guess what? They give this kid carte blanche. They didn't say, hey, this is what we doing. You need to take this read. And if it ain't open, run, throw it away. Not, hey, I can have the ability to run around for 6 or 7 seconds, hoping I can shake somebody, then throw miraculously downfield, hoping DJ Moore or Roman Dunze finally got open on the scramble drill, and I look great on SportsCenter. That's not the NFL. That's college. You can do that all day at major college because you're not playing against premier competition in the secondary or on the defensive line or even sometimes the linebacking core. You can get away with that BS.
FFG, let me ask you, I know you're going to say yes because there is a way to do it, but in your heart of hearts, do you think he can get this cleaned up with the right, you know, tutoring and coaching, get this cleaned up and get himself back where he needs to be? And I wouldn't even say back, get himself where he needs to be as an NFL quarterback and play on time in structure. Do you think he can get there?
Yes, with proper coaching.
Right.
And this is why I think Thomas Brown took over to say, hey, look, you was the hottest shit in college. You was no joke. You looked great, won a Heisman. But when you had no help, look what it looked like. People was getting to you because you was trying to be hero ball all day long, every day. Instead of just saying, hey, this was the play. You clapped it in. Now you got to call the play. Now you got to understand the defense. Now you got to understand who's coming. And know, okay, the play call says I get to this person. Like, I couldn't believe Coach Matt didn't even get a target in most of the last 2 games because he decided that wasn't where I want to go with the ball. So, yes, if coaching tells you, and really what they need to do is slap them up like you do kids. Like, don't run on the street. Look before you run. You know what I mean? That's the kind of leeway they need to take away from him where he could just run free.
That kind of goes back.
Feel me?
It kind of goes back to what I was saying about what Thomas Brown can bring to the table, don't it? Because when I was saying that, you know, he's got this presence to him where he's just no bullshit. Look, man, this is what you're gonna have to do. No, all this extra going to the line and taking the extra 15 seconds to get everybody where you want them to be. No, we got them reeling. Take this tempo, get up to the line of scrimmage and call the play, right? That's kind of, I think, to me, that's why I'm excited about Thomas Brown, because I think he can bring that to the table. And to me, that's exactly the recipe right now, to really calm it down, just to really dumb it down, make it simple for him. Don't give him too many options and just execute.
Well, here's the thing. I don't know, Kedz, Trip, maybe it's just me. When the last time you seen a 10-play drive from the Bears? When have you actually seen them pound the rock, take the easy throws, keep the chains moving to tire out the defense, so your defense ain't struggling, having to try to hold people down every week, trying to keep y'all with an advantage to be in the game, and then y'all run out there and 3 and out.
Well, that seems to have been a thing that has tormented this organization for a while, but especially under Flus is, our offense is 3 and out, 3 and out, 2 and a turnover. Whereas now the defense is making stops. But now they've got reps, for the first half that are inordinately on their side because they've had too many because the offense has been so inept. And then at the end of the game, when they're tired and gassed and sweat's not on the field, the other team can go right down the field and score points. I mean, we've seen that many, many times, as opposed to the opposite, where the Bears are the aggressors on offense and letting the defense not chill, but catch their breath.
So you're saying a 10
you got to go back to before that damn Commanders game to find
it. It would be before the Commanders game, but I'm just looking. It made me stop and look at DeAndre Swift's numbers, and I'm actually just going to show this to the folks here. And I'm not talking about I'm not really down I'm not anywhere near as down as I might sound on DeAndre Swift. I think he's an amazing football player, especially at the running back position in pass catching capacity as well. And he's just not being utilized correctly. And what I wanted to show you guys here is just his attempts over this season. The most amount of attempts for DeAndre Swift was 21 rushes in the Carolina game. Outside of that, he's somewhere between 13 and 14 rushes game on game. There's no way. You know what I mean? There's no way we're ever going to sustain a 10-plus drive, right? They're not going to sustain that without running the football. And don't let me go and pull up, any of the other running backs' numbers on the team because Khalil didn't rush the ball. You know what I mean? Roshan ain't been running the ball either. So we're talking like maximum maybe 17, 18 rushes a game. That's crazy.
Hey, FFG, how many in the real world, in a world where you can really make DeAndre Swift effective? Like in my mind, you get that dude at least 5 to 10 pass plays a game. Does that make any kind of sense to you? He gets 5 to 10 touches in the passing game a game, right?
Okay, so you want to ask me literally? He needs to have at least 17 touches running the ball and at least 5 receptions or pass attempts minimum.
Right.
We need 30 rushes a game, at least every game, whether it's Roshan, I don't care if you having Tyler Scott out there on the end around, something, you got to run the ball. And teams are not afraid of us running the ball. At least with Justin, teams backed off and they were scared to death that he would run the ball. Caleb tiptoes through the tulips. And he only runs because he thinks there's no chance of me throwing a touchdown. Not saying, hey, the lane is open. I can go run and get 6 yards, slide down the next play. We got a first down. Change, keep moving. You see the difference?
Caleb is so adorable when he runs. His little legs and feet just be moving so fast, but he don't be going nowhere.
He's looking for that hit, man. He's trying to avoid it, which is smart, but he doesn't run with any kind of authority, with any kind of intention at all, man. And that's just cautiousness when I see him running. Am I on the island when I say that? He just runs, and it just all you see is caution.
Well, I mean, he runs like You know, he's just a guy running. He's not running like he's an athlete or a sprinter or he has a talent to move fast. He's just running like,
He's running
okay, I'm
open
down.
space so he fall down, not
Right.
to get hit. He's running like a football player where, like, I need to get this first down.
Yeah,
That's the difference.
exactly.
He's running for his life. He's not really running for the first down. He might get the first down in the process, but
I ain't trying to die out in this motherfucker. That's what I'm
look at like Drake May last week. He's not, you know, like a Justin Fields kind of runner or rusher, but he was effective and big enough to break the sack attempts.
My boy dropped
athletically and talented enough to run and get the, you know, first downs when necessary. So it doesn't mean that you have to be a weapon with your legs, but being able to use your legs as a weapon, you know, is nice.
And he can, right? Like,
but he has the ability, though. Do you see what I'm saying? He has the ability. He could get 35 to 50 yards a game. I'm cool with that. Breaking the huddle. Like, oh, ain't nobody open. It's a lane right there. Let me go run out. Get me 6-7 yards. Or maybe
get down.
Nice lane. Let me get 17, 20 yards. You know, now I'm in a better position. Now the defense is tired of chasing me because now they have to back off a little bit. The linebackers got to stand their ground. They not in the passing lane where I can hit the quick slant. I can hit the out. I can hit the over route. You don't see any of that with their play calling ability. And that's why I think Shane Waldron got fired, because even when he did call them kind of plays, he didn't take it. The tight end was sitting in the zone all day long for 8 yards, 6 yards, and can turn and run. They didn't take that. You don't utilize every single part of your – why have people active on game day and don't ever touch the field when we hurt? You know what I mean? You got Mercedes Lewis, 40-year-old ass out there. You'll never run 13 personnel and run people over. You feel me?
Right.
This is my anger that I look at when I'm watching the game, which is rare because I got to watch the Packers and the fucking Vikings every week because that's what comes on in my house. Y'all lucky.
You're doing your whole NFC North over there, huh?
So the only thing I get on TV, they got to play on Thursday or Sunday or Monday night for me to even have a chance.
Damn. Hey, you know what, man? Hey, FFG,
that's why I be telling y'all, stop talking shit and tell me what's happening in the game.
You sure do.
He's like, literally, I think. Well, I'm not watching.
We gotta talk shit in some of these games, bro.
I give you play-by-play for Minnesota. I give you play-by-play for Green Bay all day long. I live in the Midwest and can't watch my team. That's why I'm mad at WGN, punk ass, for losing games. Right. The Bears games used to come on. If you man, y'all will never remember that, right? When the Bears game was guaranteed to be on TV.
Channel 2, CBS. But let me ask you this: being a Minnesota resident, what's the thoughts of like Kevin Warren up there when he was up there? Like good, bad, and different?
I'm gonna tell you this, and I got to speak for Minnesotans. I can't speak for me personally because it was already built. But the white people up here love it. They loved him because they won the nicest stadiums in the league. You go to US Bank Stadium, right off the highway. It's easy to get to. You can take the train to it. It's for whatever the Bears gonna do. What Minnesota did and it's right downtown Minneapolis. Y'all don't get that. It's right downtown, but you can take the train, you take the bus, and you can drive your car damn near up to that mug. Now, parking is a killer because they don't really have a parking structure. So you don't have to pay to park somewhere in somebody's property or a parking garage because it's downtown Minnesota. It's going to cost you an arm and leg. But they loved him while he was here. Now, I'm not sure how y'all feel about my team because I love to hate them and I hate to love them. You know what I mean? Because I've been a fan forever and I've seen them win the Super Bowls. I've seen them be dominant and I've seen them just go off the deep end with crazy coach and hold on people too long and terrible draft picks. Like we ain't drafted a receiver since I think Rome probably the best receiver we done drafted since Curtis Conway. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, Darnell Wright probably the best offensive line we drafted since Olin Kreutz. You know what I mean? So there are certain deficiencies that my team has that we don't build for the future. But here, they have a defeatist attitude you wouldn't believe. They know in every single sport, no matter how well they do, they not win. They don't care. They don't mind. Now they'll go spend all their money, root for them all day long. But in the back of their mind, they know some peanut butter just waiting to kill their team, and they'll choke themselves to death. And they're like, we thought.
That sound like the people that live in North Carolina, man.
No, you think I'm playing? It's bred into you as a child that they ain't winning. Nothing. No sport. And the only thing they can hang their head on is the Lynx and the Twins in the 90s.
Man, I know some Vikings fan, and that was like a perfect description. Long distance. That was a perfect description. That's exactly how they are.
FFG, I got to tell you, man, it is a pleasure, straight up, and I'm not BSing you because you own this show and you came in here. It's a treat to actually see you and meet you virtually like this, man, and just to get in touch and just to have some kind of contact with the people that support you, man. It feels so good to me to actually see you and say hello and talk to you and hear your voice, man. Dude, I absolutely love this right now, man. Straight up. It is this beautiful right here.
Hey, my suggestion, fellas, is y'all should have, because there ain't but 20 of us, right now. Super No Maniacs. Yeah. Have somebody in the lounge every week, or chop it up so we can all get to see each other. We all live in different states, get to intermingle, because I think I look at all these phonies out there, and all they really is doing is reporting stuff that they see. Now, there's a couple good shows, I ain't gonna lie, that I like, and I like to listen to them. You know what I mean? And some of these cats is really trying to do it as a career, and I applaud that. But I don't see y'all looking at it as a career, because this ain't gonna be my job. I'm sorry. I love to talk shit all day long. I've been doing this since I was 8 years old. But this is a hobby for me. This is something love in my heart. And so I'm not trying to make a career out of it. And I don't need nobody to donate to me, but I would donate to y'all because I feel like y'all have it in y'all heart that y'all want to speak on the real all the time about how the team is actually performing, being managed, how it makes the people around the town feel, where the collective can say, hey, look, we understand football. We understand how things are going. We understand the community. And then we can present it to you in a way that is, you can feel it in your heart, even if you still don't live here. You know what I mean? Because I grew up in East St. Louis, Illinois.
East Boogie.
Yes, sir.
Oh.
I got relatives all over Chicago.
Hey. So I done had to thump with them in some playoff games.
You don't want to hang out though. I can tell you that right now.
Hey, you go to the clubs and you down.
Man, that East Boogie, my as a matter of fact, my mother's longtime fiance, they've been together and just never got married because to them, marriage
sound like East Boogie saying.
Marriage ruins relationships, man. It's one they the kind of people, they've been together for a long time.
Like, they got that common law. Yeah, I can tell you kiss my ass tomorrow and go home to go with my cousin.
And I told them, I said, y'all got a blessing going on that y'all don't even know it. But they came to the conclusion that a piece of paper, I don't get down on nobody that gets married, but I ain't gonna act like it didn't affect me in my decision making to not be a married man at this point in my life. To look at them and say, I've seen people actually change when they put a piece of paper to it in a ring and all. I've seen people actually change when they became something under law. You know what I mean? But they made it their business to not let that affect them, and they just stayed together and said, you know what, we got each other. And no matter what nobody says, we know who we are. You know what I mean? So East St. Louis, I got a connection to that that's been around me since I was at least 9 to 11 years old when they got together. But yeah, East St. Louis, I got a big connection down there.
And I got family Cahokia, all St. Louis, all the way up Peoria. You name it, all the way up.
Hey, so speaking of all the way up there in Minnesota, have you been on one of those snowmobile pub crawls yet and had some olives in your beer or what?
Okay, so I'm gonna tell you like this. I live in Twin Cities, kind of in the middle of the state.
Oh, okay.
It's snow everywhere around here. But I don't know if y'all got a map. There is a top of like International Falls up there. It's on the corner above Wisconsin. Lake Superior is there. And there's Michigan that hangs down, and it's Canada right there. That is considered Uber land.
Who land?
Ubers speak a different language. I'm explaining some stuff about that olive shit. So you understand. That is a whole different world in itself. They have their own community, like gypsy kind of motherfuckers. Excuse my language. That they really like that. They live on the ice 6 months out of the year because they can.
Nordics.
I'm telling you, like her family is all up to the top of Wisconsin too. Yeah, them kids, they snowmobile to school. You can snowmobile to the store, everywhere you want to go, and ain't really no loss. So them people up there, Budweiser comes once a year on the lake, builds a whole goddamn ice palace. All you do is bring your ice shanty out there, because I've done it with her cousin, and he got a bunch of holes already built into the ground. You stick your pole down there, set your grill up outside, have your little beer for later, and you just go walk inside the little ice clubs. So you can go get smashed. You spend $45, drink all the beer and all the single shots they'll give you. And if you fall down, you can slide back to your shanty.
That sounds like a good ass time, man.
But you can eat good too, because everybody cooking on the ice.
Hell yeah, that sounds like, man, it's a
Y'all
reason
don't
why I
know.
like people in Minnesota.
Y'all, you said these people's nice. Everybody will feed you. Everybody got a beer for you. And there ain't a whole lot of them. I'm gonna kill you and leave you in the snow type cats out there. Trip. I know I know you be looking at them white people like that. But
there's some of them. But put you in the wood chipper, but not all of them.
No, but the sad part is everybody out here is nice. Like they call it Minnesota nice. Minnesota nice is bull motherfucking shit. You know why? Because it's passive aggressive nice. They really nice to you in your face and do whatever you want. But behind closed doors, they go to dinner on Sunday or on Thursday. They gonna talk all this shit in the world about you. And everybody they know,
don't you know?
All they do. The gossiping. This is the most gossiping place I've ever been in my life. They don't talk about current events. They talk about people. And you know what that means? Some small-minded.
Yeah, don't you know?
I feel you, man. You know what, man? It's just because I only had a brief, I guess, interaction with Minnesota, it makes me feel the way I feel about Minnesota. It was just like the simplicity of it, man. I really did. I just like the simplicity of it and the way of life. You know what I mean? It's, I got, trust me when I tell you, I got cousins in the hoods of Minneapolis that go up, man, and one or two of them then came back here in the box messing around too much up there. And so I know there's that element too. You know what I mean? So I know that personally. But that's one of those situations when I was up there, I just felt like enjoy the moment, enjoy the people, try to blend in and, don't take your experience from where you've been and accuse these people of being something different. Just blend in. And that's what I did. And I had a good time. That stuff that you describe in FFG, I would have a blast doing that. I love that kind of stuff, man.
Here's the secret about Minnesota that nobody know. White people keep money up here. They got all the toys, boats, snowmobiles, motorcycles.
They do because it's freezing cold. It's just like in Canada.
No, but you don't get it. They got ice shanties. They got some for every season.
I don't know about that.
They love to be outside, so they have all the toys for outside. So you can go hang out with pretty much anybody. They got a boat. They got snowmobiles. They got four-wheelers. You can go chill and kick it anywhere. And this is one of the most drug-free communities for the most part. Now there's other element out there, but for the most part, you need to go chill anywhere. I've seen the least amount of racism in my life out here in the regular part of town. Now you go downtown Minneapolis, it's just like going downtown Atlanta or Chicago, because that's where all the bullshit is. Straight up. Yeah. It's where all the hospitals and all the so-called money is. So it attracts the vagrancy. That's what a lot of it is vagrancy.
The money.
Yeah. I mean, and it's all old buildings and people don't take care of it. And it's all small and one way. That's why the cops get everybody, because you can't break north. It's all one-way streets for the most part.
Money will vacuum in the worst part of society. Period.
But everywhere else,
where you at?
Hey, y'all, trust me. I know her family, and I know a bunch of millionaires that live out here, just chilling every day. You will never know Ned down the street got banked. But Ned will hang out and kick with you, be like you. You could be at every party, every barbecue. They'll take you on a sailboat. Y'all can go do nice stuff. And literally, her brother lived maybe 5-10 minutes down the street. I watched in one day, he had a cabin. No lie, this is his house. They took off the roof. They did the siding. They did the driveway. So they took up the cement slabs, all that. I went and hooked up all his electronics on his inside of his house. So he had cable, internet, hooked up all this stuff. While they were doing all that, and we had a 2-hour rain delay. Still they put up a whole roof one day. That's Minnesota. Now, y'all ain't never seen nothing like that. This is like 1930s. They
y'all talking about Amish
and barbecued, and all the women brought cookies and cakes and stuff and chilled in the garage because you get a 5-car garage. Y'all don't understand the bond.
That's that Amish ingenuity.
It's ridiculous how cool it is. If you in there, you in there.
Hey,
well, but that's part of being in a community. You know,
exactly.
Where you're looking out for each
knows
other.
everybody. Been living together since they was kids, so everybody help everybody, and everybody got a good job. They either builders or welders or carpet or foundation. Her uncle owns a whole company that builds houses from the ground up. Her brother works for Delta. You know, so there's like almost no industry that they don't got on lock. All kind of people work at the hospitals around here. She run all the she does all the stuff for 8 pharmacies for the state, for the regulations. I don't have to worry about nothing.
Hey,
I got the cable hook up.
FFG, I got to tell you, man, when I was in I think I think it was Conyers, Georgia, when I was living in Atlanta. I was down there. Yeah, it's crazy down there, man. I met a secret millionaire. You ever seen that show, Secret Millionaire? I think it's, what is it, Secret Millionaire or Hidden? I forget, whatever it is. I'm down there. I'm subcontracted to do some emergency response work. There's a gas leak, and I'm doing emergency response. I'm not like an EMT or anything like that. I'm the guy that goes down to Katrina when everything fucks up. I'm that guy. I'm down there, you know, digging out a gas line and doing something with that pipe. And I go to this place, and we down there, and we got our contracted people that's down there digging, trying to get to this line so we can hurry up and do something with that pipe. And before I knew it, we had like 6 or 7 people, random people they just sent out from the company, because we inside a company's grounds, right? And I'm looking around, I'm just seeing several motherfuckers just digging. Next thing you know, there's a guy right next to me. and we got to the leak, and now we got to get out of the hole, right? And we got to get on some PPE, some protective gear, and we get in fully encapsulated suits and this is the middle of the summer, and we in there digging, and we get to it, and we switching out like because once you get there, now you got to get real delicate around the leak, and you got to dig the pipe all the way out. Now it's real precision digging, right? And so you can't really disrupt that pipe. So we're being real careful. And so we switching out. So I'm in that suit for 20 minutes, 15, 20 minutes. Next man's in that suit 15, 20 minutes, on and on and on. So it goes on about 4 or 5 times. Finally, one of them dudes came out of the suit right when I was getting ready to get back in the suit to go back in. And I called him. He was a long black bro. And he got out that suit and he was completely drenched from top to bottom. And I call that dude Patrick Ewing. And that motherfucker, you know how Patrick Ewing was.
Just come out the game all looking ejected and stuff.
And that dude just fell out.
Yeah.
That dude just fell out. And nobody knew up until that point that this dude was the multi-millionaire that ran that company. And unless you was out there with him. The people that he brought out there knew it, but none of us knew anything about it. He just a motherfucker out there digging. And anyway, long story short, you talk about being around people you would never know. You never would have guessed that guy was no. I mean, he cracked up so hard off of that. That's just normal shit. When we just crack on each other. You know, I mean, dude was sweating like a motherfucker, but that was interesting, man. And I just wanted to say, man, dude, you being here and me getting to meet you, us getting to meet you, what a fucking treat. And you right. I'm going to say this right now to the No Maniacs, the Super No Maniacs. I think FFG just started something. If you want to come on as a Super No Maniac and you feel like you want to be out here and you want to talk to us and get out here on the show and express yourself the way FFG just did, you see the email right there on the bottom. Sit us up, man, because that's a feature we can actually give you guys, and it don't hurt none. Just show you some love, and this is fun, FFG, man. It was a pleasure actually get to see you, man. Put a face behind the name, man. What a joy, man.
It's all gravy. I mean, now if you want to know what the name stands for, you should know the group that I love, and my email should give you a hint.
Wait a minute. Are you we had to put on some songs for you at a time or two, didn't we?
Oh yeah.
All right, what was it? Was it that wait a minute. I'm thinking about that I don't know. Tell me again. It was something like the Lyricist Lounge.
It depends. I had you put on Patriotism by Company Flow.
I remember
and
that.
That's still to me one of the. I look at abstract and actually reality when I listen to music. It's all great to have battle raps, and I like more like imagery. So that's why I do play Killer Priest a couple weeks ago, about 2 weeks ago. Killer Priest.
Mm-hmm.
That's why that one day we were talking about the licks, and that's why I was like, wow, y'all, what y'all know about the licks? Because I didn't see them, met them. Hung out, been in person, been in multiple shows, and a friend of mine knew what do you call it? The DJ, because he's from Cleveland. You know that, right? From the Licks, yeah, he's from Cleveland.
Yeah, he's from Cleveland.
Talking about DJ,
E Swift. You talking about
E Swift? He's from Cleveland.
Oh, E Swift, yeah, that's the DJ.
I didn't know you put him on, right? You know who put them on was King T.
King T. Yeah, King T and Madlib, right? Madlib did a lot of that production too. Right.
So we met King T back in like 1993. We went out to San Diego State because my buddy of mine, he was being propositioned to be a running back for them when we got to high school. Because but this cat got rubbed with the wrong girl and did the wrong thing with his life and tore up his ankles during the season, so that ended him. But yeah, we met King T just chilling at a beach house in San Diego.
Damn.
We was listening to. He was playing mixtapes with the licks on it back then when they was just the background cats. You know what I mean? Like the Far Eye and all them. They was getting ready to come up. You know what I mean? I remember the house party. We heard the first Gin and Juice, but way before Snoop ever had an album out. Sometimes crazy. Depends on where you live at the time. I mean, y'all live in Chicago. I'm pretty sure that y'all done caught some stuff from the Midwest or whatever, that was like probably common or, back before old boy lost his mind and went crazy, then hung out with Jay-Z, and now he talking Nazi lover. But,
I got a joint for y'all before we get ready to wrap this thing up and get out of here, man, because my old girl on the way here. This is a joint to go. I cannot play it because we monetize the show, and I know I'll get in trouble if I play it, but I'm going to put it on display for y'all so y'all can see it. And some of y'all might know exactly what it is. Tribe Called Quest, Busta Rhymes, Wild Hot.
Yep.
I love now that joint right there, FFG, I'm telling you, that joint right there, I love styles. I love MCs that really flip styles. Like when they, like in this one, what you would notice, not with Q-Tip, but with Busta, he sticks to the same syllable or the same vowel sound. And so you'll hear oh throughout that rhyme, and it's the dopest shit ever, man. And this is when I start going around collecting all them, everybody's trying to give away, all these CDs because everybody's moving to thumb drives and, all this kind of stuff that we go into now. I was grabbing them shits and I still collect them now. And this is, I was really looking hard for soundtracks. I realized there's a lot of soundtracks out there with a lot of dope joints on them. And this is one of the ones I find that I love now. Like I can't get enough of it right now. But Tribe Called Quest, everybody, a Tribe Called Quest and Busta Rhymes, Wild Hot. That's one that maybe we won't monetize next week and we'll play that joint for everybody. But that's one of them joints. Anybody know about that one?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, it's a jam.
Yeah. Who you think you're talking about? I remember when he was the man with the lawns way before when he knew Tribe Called Quest and the Jungle Brothers and see
my ding-a-ling. The D-I-N-G, the L-I-N-G. A brain is strong when a song is empty. So how many people out there got a ding-a-ling-a-ling, ring-a-ling-a-ling now you sing? Trust me, bro. I know all them things.
Yes, sir.
L-O-N-S, that was one of my favorite albums.
I was feeling it from like 7th grade,
Yeah.
I
we got to be about the exact same age.
I've been hip hop head since
Yeah, I heard that joke.
I mean, our first rhyme was Cream of the Crop when I was like 7 years old.
Yo, wow, man. FFG.
If you want to ride the white horse.
Hey, FFG, we should have met a long ass time ago. And now from now on, man, we got to
my email address. You can hit me up anytime. I mean, I can talk everything because I've been around the world. I've been in the military. I've been in corporate America. I've been from the bottom to the top, in life, and now I'm just in an area where I can cruise control, do my thing and enjoy. You know what I mean?
That's what
and that's where you want. I think that's where you want to be. I don't got to be super rich, but I don't have to. I don't worry about nothing. When I want something, I just go buy it. I don't even look at bills because they just come right out. Because I know me and my girl doing well enough where I don't worry about stuff like that.
Man, you live in the comfortable life where you can have auto pay on and not have to worry about overdraft fees.
What overdraft fees? You got way more enough money in the bank. See, that's the difference. See, people worry about paycheck to paycheck. When you do your stuff right, you got money in the bank. I look at the stock market every day, see where my actual money is really going.
Man,
now you talking.
FFG, you got to stick around, man, while we get ready to close the show.
Yes, sir. I'm just going to grab a drink.
Shit, can I borrow $1?
I'm going to stop my cam for a second. I'll be right back.
All right.
Oh, awesome.
Let's go comment on them. Common sense.
I was gonna say that's a common lyric, common what's that album theme?
Yeah, that's album. Yeah.
First common album.
Kids, let's give out some pleasantries before we close this thing.
Yeah, well, let's start it out by giving a big shout out to our guy FFG Style for coming through. Mad respect, mad support from our guy FFG. So it was really awesome to have him on the show. Chop it up, give him the opportunity to give us a good understanding of who he is and what he's about and where he's from. It was awesome, man. I appreciate that, and we always we always appreciate the love, man. So we'll keep in touch. We'll chop it up a little bit backstage when the rest of these when we're done here. Give a little bit of love to the rest of the folks out there who love us. My guy Crimson has been holding it down all day. Big respect to Crimson. Thank you very much, dog. Shout outs to Jim Hunter, Super No Maniac, my guy, Minister Charles Johnson, Super No Maniac, Black Diamond. Who else we got out there? King Booker World was holding it down with us for a little bit today. Mo Fugra jumped in. I didn't see the Nodge, but big love to the Nodge regardless. Black Rain. Who else we got out there? Oh, man. I don't know. Well, we got my guy Triple R. So shout out to my guy Triple R. What it do, my brother? Before we give it to you, though, big love to Nomad for putting this thing together. And let me throw it down to FFG. You can take this where you want to take it, man. Give some closing remarks.
Hey, I've been on the show since probably day one. I've been listening to y'all. I go way back to MFR in the Kitchen. My favorite segments back in the day. You know what I'm saying?
Understandable.
I remember Samo was kicking in, and I remember Chris was still alive. So, I've been around, and I've been a really good fan of this show because I felt y'all was real. And so that's why I support y'all today. Not because I ain't got nothing to do on a Wednesday night, because I wanted to be here and I wanted to show y'all respect for the time and effort y'all put in. And Triple R, you just be going nuts on everything that you do. I mean, I love your characters. You know what I mean? Kedz, I love your points of view, and you got the fire and the passion that you actually need to be a Bears fan. Because sometimes you got to say, my ass.
Love that.
I really appreciate you for putting this together, putting your money down, getting these cats really involved and putting together a brand that real fans can actually trust, compared to some of these guys out here that just they have don't get me wrong, there's a lot of different shows I look at just to see what kind of information they provide, you know what I mean, but a lot of it's not genuine. It's just basically reporting news they see on the internet. Mm-hmm. To me, that's not, I could do that. Hell, I remember when Aldo was the only Bears cat, and the Bears brothers was the only chat online, and I used to listen to them, because me and my boy, when I lived in Vegas, we had an option to be this, but he a Cowboys fan, so it would have never worked. So we was going to do two brothers, down up in the basement, chilling, giving our opinion on football, which we see what it's turned into in the last 10 years, and we could easily be millionaires. And that's just a hobby that we created, hanging out, drinking, watching football on a Saturday. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So I'm glad y'all turned your passion into something that's respectable and that's actually given real insight into what you guys believe, compared to reporting the news and actually giving a perspective and allowing people to voice their opinion with more than "you suck" or "y'all team stinks" or "y'all got a terrible quarterback." That's just talking smack. I'd rather have in-depth conversation on information that actually builds into something that people even from the team can actually say, yo, you know what? These guys actually have a point. They actually see what we're doing and they can express it. And we might be able to take a snippet here, a snippet there, and actually use it to our advantage, because we're taking the fans' point of view, the real fans and the football knowledge people, not just the average idiot on social media.
Mm-hmm.
So thank you.
Man, you are more than welcome. Go ahead, Trips.
Yeah, and big up to, Nomad, the dude, Kedz, FFG. It's always nice chopping it up and building with the fan base. But to build on something FFG was saying, the consumers of this content, the fans of, whatever team, it's important that you support the podcasters or the content creators that you respect, that you enjoy their content. There are a lot of reporters that are also podcasters. And when they're podcasting, it's like, well, are you giving your opinion or are you giving what you learned in your reporting? And that line gets very blurred with a lot of these people. And then you realize that they don't really give a shit about the fan base or their organization. They're just trying to build their brand, their career. And, I'm not going to hate on them for that because, we all need money. We don't all want money, but we all need money to survive. Some view money as the root of all evil. Others view it as what people will do to get it because we all need it. So support those podcasters and those creators that are putting it out there from the love of their heart to give you either entertainment or a thought or a platform to share your thoughts. I mean, because that's all this is, because none of us are making these calls in Hallis Hall. We can want to draft this person or sign this free agent or trade for that player, and we give our reasons why. But none of that's going to happen because none of us are making those decisions, so we can only react to what happens. And so being able to process, whether it be the victories or whether it be to, process and be therapy for each other to bounce off our frustrations, it's just a very appreciative community that this fan base has online. And I'm sure other teams have it as well. Don Burr, actually a closeted Bears fan. But when Bears fans, come together and can build around these different platforms and podcasts and know each other from the chat, whereas never seen, a motherfucker in real life at all, wouldn't know you if I needed you, but if I saw you on the street, but we know each other from these chats and you get to know what the people are. And then the people in the chats who come on these shows and, us creators who you get to know and all of our personalities or likes or dislikes, what have you, support those people, support us. So, all the No Maniacs out there, all the Barroom Network people out there, all the BCP people out there, and all the sports Chicago style people of a community that we're, building, but in this genre. So, support the ones that deserve your support because that way they keep putting it out. And then the assholes that you don't like, don't support them. Don't go to their channels. Don't, just go talk shit, to cut their algorithm down so maybe we see less of them. So much love to all the No Maniacs, all the Bears Nation out there. Go to Sports Chicago Style and subscribe and all that fun stuff. And of course, it wouldn't be an official sign off, of course, with Nomad's special words. But being that this is the week, FGB.
Hey man, let me tell you something, man. FGB, exactly. I'm gonna find a way to get on the winning side of this conversation. I guarantee you, we're gonna figure out a way, some kind of way. That's just Nomad being Nomad. I'm just me. I can't help but be me. Listen, FFG and all the Super No Maniacs that decided that this was a good place to spend your hard-earned money, man. Let me tell you something. Put that aside. We definitely appreciate that. But the fact that I'm getting to sit here right now and see you, and I'm gonna just tell you something that comes right through the screen. Your intellect and your life experience, it's just bleeding right through the screen, man. I can see it. I know I'm dealing with intelligence, and I know I'm dealing with a lot of life experience. I can see that. I think anybody can see that. And so for that, I respect and appreciate that, man. Thank you for being here. And I hope somehow that we can figure out a way to stay connected this way. And if you want to come back on, trust me when I tell you, we can make sure the avenue is clear for you to come back on. And anything we do beyond that is all up to whatever we decide we want to do. But thank you for being here, man. It's been a pleasure to actually meet you for the first time. And this is just how people meet each other these days. It's virtually for the most part, you know, because everybody can't be everywhere. We got people, as far as I know, I've seen somebody as far as Australia in this show, man. I've seen UK, Puerto Rico. That's about as far as I can think of. Well, I've seen people that view the show, but man, you right here in Minnesota, a place that I like to be, you know, when I get some time to go up there. But damn, this was good. This was a good time, man. And this was just a regular show that we always do, you know, between the three of us. But when you got in here, you made it special, man. So thank you, bro. Thank you for being here.
No problem.
And to the rest of the Super Nomaniacs, anybody that decided that they could spend $4.99 a month to help us out, man, we thank y'all so much, because I'm just trying to figure out different ways that I can appreciate Super Nomaniacs and people that become members and subscribe and all that kind of stuff. I'm going to get it all together. I'm going to figure out more and more ways to do that, man, because our fan base, I'm telling you, to me, is the most unique I've ever seen. I've been as far Atlanta. I just say Atlanta. And the most rabid fan base I've ever seen, other than the Chicago Bears, is actually the Ohio State Buckeye fans. And if you've never been to Columbus, Ohio, you wouldn't know how rabid that shit is. Like that whole city of Columbus, there's nothing there other than the Ohio State Buckeyes. That's it. That's it. And you would think that in a city that's not the smallest city in the world, but it's not huge. But it gives you a perspective to your team and the fanfare there. This is pretty much all they got in the city. That's what Columbus, Ohio is known for, right? It's Ohio State Buckeyes, right? And so when I lived there and came back here, I got a different perspective of the Chicago Bears. And I ended up watching this stuff and just kind of being a content consumer, and decided that, you know what, I should have a voice out here, and I did that. And somehow these guys right here keep rocking with me, man, and I respect the shit out of them. They know that. And FFG coming on here tonight, what a nice treat, man. But I had to say that, man. He's got my heart heavy right now, but I got to get out of here before I get carried away, because I'm telling you, man, when I see people like FFG come on here and make his presence felt, excuse me, and feel as comfortable as he is to express himself and to appreciate what we've done since we started doing these podcasts, in the way that he describes it, makes me feel good for the work that I do and the way I guide these conversations and try to keep this shit lively and keep it real for everybody. And that's the goal. Just take it where it needs to go, react to people's emotions, and let everything else flower itself. That's just basically what you see, FFG. Most of the time, pretty much all the time, they never know where I'm going to go, but they're ready to respond to it. And that's what makes it real, because we've talked about doing scripted shows, but I said, you know what, that would be making us like everybody else, man. So them responding to it in a real way, that's what keeps the show real, to be honest with you. Just me coming up with stuff and them responding to it, that's what makes it real. So I just wanted to put that out there so everybody knows. And we get ready to close the show out, and I'm going to say thank you one more time. And I got to leave you with these famous words. If you can think it, people, and you can see it, there's no reason in the world why you can't absolutely manifest it. If you're not, you're just a prisoner of your own mind, and you're getting in your own way. But with that being said, we are